I saved the best gift for last.
Oh yeah, we're live now. I'll show it to. Is it appropriate for our live audience?
You tell me.
Well, I guess we'll find out together. Jesus, the Zuckerberg stare
With the blink.
with the blink. Hey everybody, welcome to bonus content. It's Tony and I right now, waiting for our dumb cohorts. Got him.
Fuck are they?
I think Scott's eating, and Nalbashin's waiting on a Wi-Fi password, whatever that means. He's locked out of his own internet. Tony, how are you doing, bud?
Doing all right, and you?
I'm tired. As you may know, I had a long weekend with work, so I'm sleepy. I'm ready to have a day off tomorrow. I'm gonna sleep in, I think.
Nice. I have to go to work, so I won't be doing that.
How were your last 2 days off though? Today and yesterday.
It was not bad. I slept in. I came home from work on Thursday, and I was so tired, so I got home at like 4:45. I went to bed at 5, and I woke up at midnight. Then I was up for like 4.5 hours. Then I went back to sleep, and then I slept till 2 p.m.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then I was up until like 4 a.m. And then I slept from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m.
So like I was 7:30 to 4:30 yesterday.
Yeah,
my shift
good.
at work, which is it's nice to come back home and like still have kind of time to do stuff.
That's pretty similar to my shifts on the daily.
Mm-hmm. I usually only get 1 or 2 of those a week, but it was I was just so tired because it was such a long day. I was like, I'll go to sleep early tonight and like I'll wake up early and whatnot. Maybe I'll get some stuff done in the morning. So I go to sleep at like 9:30, and I wake up at 3:30, and I can't get back to sleep. I have to get up by 8. I can't get back to sleep until about 7. So I'm just like tussling and bustling in bed for like 3 hours trying to get more sleep. That's the worst. I feel like when your body doesn't let you sleep extra long. Are we old men now? Is this what old men? That's what Brad Shoemaker talks about on the Bombcast because he's old. Nato Johnson's watching and he says, "Come on, get up! It's time to slam now. Welcome, yo, the Space Jam.
Yo, the Space Jam.
Yo, the Space Jam. We can have Nato on the show again now that we record on Saturdays.
True. I think we should.
We should. Nato, you should come on the show again sometime. I know you're watching. Tony, have you been watching anything good lately?
Yeah, actually.
What you been watching?
So I watched. I caught up on Overlord 3rd season.
Okay, yeah.
That real good.
Still good?
Real good. Yeah. You should definitely watch that, but watch the first 2 seasons first. I think it's one of the like better animes that's come out in a long time, and the reason why is because you know how like a normal anime like it introduces a cast of characters, you follow that cast of characters through their through their adventures, and eventually they'll get to the end of the story and most of them will be there and achieve their goals.
Mm-hmm.
In this show, they introduce people to you just so you care a little bit more when the main character fucking destroys them. It is the best. Like they spent 2 episodes like introducing this like little band of adventurers and sending them off on a quest, but the quest was to go infiltrate like the main like crypt of the main character, like his home. And then you did like there are 2 episodes of just him brutally murdering every person who comes in.
Jeez.
And it's fucking great.
You definitely like piqued my interest with this one because you said like the first season's mostly about the guy, right, and the second season's mostly about other people.
Yeah, first season kind of like introduces the world and him learning like how to be in this world that he used. This like it's different now than it was when it was a game that he was playing. And also all of his friends aren't there. It's just him, as far as he knows, that's in there. That's like from the real world and that powerful. He's basically like, he's God, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He's so much more powerful than anyone else.
And
his guild, the idea when they were playing the game was that they're all people, the only people who were allowed in the guild were people who had jobs, like people that had lives. And in that way, they all had disposable income to spend way too much on the cash shop in the game. So they rose to power through premium and getting all these exclusive items and powerful items. And once they were at that top, power begets power. So they would collect all of these more powerful items using these powerful items they already had. So they became really, really powerful and rich. And now that he's in there, he's using all of like his, he's max level, all these huge stats and stuff, knows magic that the people and the NPCs in the world, had never even thought of or like have never seen. And so, yeah, the first season is him kind of like figuring out how to interact with his world. Second season follows and, introduces the cast of the people who are around him. Second season kind of follows some breadcrumbs laid in the first season, plus, introducing you to more of the outside cast to just him. And then the third season so far has kind of been a mix, kind of bringing those two worlds together as the larger plot kind of moves forward. It's neat because there's definitely enough stuff like out in light novels and stuff, which is what the show is based on, to have like 4 or 5 more seasons at least. And so it's neat to see all that stuff. And I think the pacing is really well done. So yeah, Overlord's really cool.
Yeah.
It definitely goes against a lot of the things that you expect it to do because you're expecting it to be like any other anime. And it is definitely not. So yeah, it's super cool.
Cool.
That one's really good. I caught up on My Hero Academia.
That
show is quite good.
Yeah, I'm still a few episodes behind, but I had some like spoilers on Twitter, and I was a little upset about it. Not like major spoilers, but like a fight that was coming up that I didn't know about between the two characters. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was like, I
haven't seen the new episode that came out today yet, but that one's really good. And also, it's not good, but it's really funny. If you have Crunchyroll, there is it's a live action show called Anime Crimes Division.
Oh my god!
And I watched the first episode of it yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to watch more of it, but I thought the first episode was really funny. You know who ProZD is?
Yeah,
guy who does those Vine skits.
He's
the main character.
Funny, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really funny.
So
Wait, is he actually the main character?
Yeah, he's the main character, in the flesh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm like all in on that.
It's 9 minutes. Okay, can I just read you the synopsis of the show?
Please.
Because that's what sold me on the first episode. Okay.
Yeah.
So the show is this in Neo Otaku City. There are 2 kinds of people. The kind of people that can recite the Sailor Moon theme song from memory in the original Japanese, and the kind that don't belong there. When someone commits a crime against anime, they don't call the police. They call the Anime Crimes Division. And I'll let you know, as soon as you start episode 1, he will voice over that exact synopsis for the first minute. It's really good.
He's so good.
Like when I was watching it, I read like the comments on Crunchyroll, and one of them describes it really well. One of them, they said, let me see. At first, I thought this was cringy, low budget shit, but then I realized it is cringy, low budget shit, but it's pretty funny.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good. It's really funny. At least the first episode, I can't say more than that, but there are 9 episodes, I think. So
okay, so it's not too long.
No,
that's awesome.
Or maybe 6. I think there are 3 per season. There are 2 seasons.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I watched that. It's good.
I'm all in.
All 3 of those are real good.
Cool.
One thing I didn't watch was that a new Avatar anime.
Yeah, the Dragon Prince. I have not.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
It's okay. I did it.
Okay.
I did it for you, Justin.
Justin's somewhere crying profusely.
I watched episode 1 of One Piece. Getting ready for
All Systems Luffy. I told Justin to keep thinking of names. Unfortunately Mike Burgess, our video producer at IP, is like, no, you guys have to do it. I'm like, no, come on. We'll see. I don't know if I want to commit to that, but I'm very tempted. NATO's in the chat saying the last episode of A+ Anime was about Overlord, and he loves it as well.
The show's so good, dude.
I didn't watch anything this week. I wanted to watch The Dragon Prince. I didn't get around to it. But I did start listening to Stormlight Archives.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this.
I'm not that deep. I'm like on the 4th chapter, I think.
Mm-hmm. Have you increased the speed to 1.25 times yet?
No, I can't do it.
I did that and never went back.
I can't do it. I've tried it like on books and stuff before.
Too fast.
I keep thinking about how it's not at the normal speed, and it distracts me too much.
Gotcha. For me, like it was that way for a little bit, but like I don't know. By chapter 4, have you had a chapter narrated by Kate reading yet?
I'm on the first chapter
narrator?
narrated by her.
I didn't really like her style of narration at the beginning. I think
Yeah.
it definitely takes some getting used to.
Yes,
And
agreed.
keeping the tempo of her speaking up definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah,
Michael is perfect.
yeah, he's very good.
His narration is fantastic, but I put the entire book at 1.25, and I think that it really helped because they do speak pretty slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Though I don't know if it doesn't work for you, it's fine. But
I'm okay with the slow burn though. Like I'm into that. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of like mechanics. I appreciated that. Like I don't know if it was the first chapter or the prologue from.
I might not answer any questions.
That's totally
for
fair.
you.
But
I want to know what you're thinking.
Yeah. I figured you'd appreciate, like, kind of get my perspective on it. I appreciated that. Again, I think it was a prologue from Zeth's perspective.
So the prologue, yeah. So there's the first chapter, which is from like someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember his name, but then Zeth's son Bolano is the prologue.
Yeah.
And then Kaladin is next, right?
Yeah, Kaladin.
And now you're on a chapter who's narrated by Shallan.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm bad with names, but yes.
It's okay. You'll get used to it.
Yeah. There's a lot of names.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones in that regard. Not a bad way. Like it's a lot. You got to pay attention.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters, and especially at the beginning because every chapter is it's so far for you as a different person. Yeah, so you'll get used to it because there are definitely there's a large cast, but you'll next time you go back to those characters, they're pretty much going to be the same casts as far as I know.
Yeah.
So.
But I appreciated like that first, the prologue, that kind of the Stormlight abilities, like kind of laying that down. I'm like,
rest in peace, King Gavilar, huh?
Yeah, right. Very visual though. I appreciate how like it's kind of like slow and methodical, but things are happening like they describe it happening like 10 beats of the heart, and it's like it's easier. It's I can see how fluid it would be.
And you could pause it and be like, how long is it for me to have 10 heartbeats? Oh, that's about how long it takes to summon a sword. Cool.
Yeah. The swords sound cool.
Yeah.
I liked how they set up Kaladin. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Kaladin.
Where like you get this like 15-year-old kid's perspective, and then he's like dead. Spoilers. First chapter spoilers.
I don't even remember that guy's name.
Yeah. Some kid's
Dalit?
No, Dalit is
his sergeant.
Yeah, is his like right-hand guy.
Yeah.
Who's also dead.
He's also dead.
But I like that. Like you kind of see him from the outside, and then it kind of turns the perspective on after a lot of time has passed.
Yeah. So what's the end of that chapter was like when they rode off, right?
The end of that chapter was when the shard wielder, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, and Kaladin runs off to go fight that guy.
He killed the mounted guy in the armor, and then the shard wielder showed up.
Gotcha.
And he rides off to fight him.
So that happened, and then it moved to Shallan, and that's where you're at right now.
No, after that it moves right to Kaladin 8 months later.
Okay, got it. I was curious if you got to that point yet.
And then Shallan had a chapter. I remember I got past that chapter, and it's back to Kaladin after like he like lost his leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I stopped. And he's being bugged by this spirit. I'm having trouble visualizing that part of it, but I'm sure that's just something that
like what the spirit could look like.
Yeah, because I'm wondering like how big they look. I feel like they might actually be very small looking.
So I can find that there's a really very popular piece of fan art that shows him and that Spren, which I think would give you a pretty good sense of scale. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, Spren in general, they're pretty cool.
It's a cool idea at the very
system of nature.
It's very interesting how they like introduce them as like this. It's obviously very supernatural and magical for like you or me, but like it's so nonchalantly introduced there, like that they're like these spirits that only one person can really see at a time, and they like echo back statements as like, oh, this is weird. Like no one's talking about how weird this is, but yeah, they're kind of they laid the groundwork of like how fantastical this world is very quickly, which I like.
Yeah, I think Brandon Sanderson is very well known for his complicated magic systems, and this series is no exception.
Yeah, which I'm like down with. I love me some mechanics.
Yeah, for sure, and it will only become more complicated as you begin to understand more about it.
Great. But yeah, it's like obviously like that. The preface before the prologue of like those like 10 or whatever characters, I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But even still, then like the guy whose perspective it's from is talking about like walking past like these big stone creatures and like talking about how he had died from them multiple times.
Sure.
And it's like it laid this groundwork of fantasticalness. It's very good so far. I'm very intrigued. I'm not keeping up with like this country is doing this thing and like this guy has this accent from this country or like region or kingdom or whatever. I'm like, all right, I'll just go with the flow. Hopefully I'll figure it out as I go along.
Yeah, that's kind of that's what's going to happen. You know, you'll understand more as presented to you, and he'll explain more to you as it becomes relevant.
Yeah, so. At some point I'll probably like when I was going through the one I mentioned to you, like the King Killer Chronicles, after I finished the second book, which is the only one that's out right now, I was like, I just didn't want to look at a map. And I just looked at a map for a little bit of like, okay, now I kind of get a relation for how far
sense of scale.
Yeah, this person was traveling or whatever. And how these kingdoms like affect each other as neighboring kingdoms. But yeah, it's good, man. I'm very invested. I'm excited to get to listen into it again. It's fun to listen to. I played my Destiny, my space magic, and I'm listening about fantasy magic and space magic.
I always I don't know. For a while, I couldn't do that when I was starting. When I first started the book, I couldn't like do something else and do it and listen to it. So I would just listen to it while I was driving. But the only game that I've played while like listening to that book was when I was leveling in WoW. I was doing that.
Yeah, there are definitely times that I will go back and I'll like rewind a little bit. Nabashin in the chat says his suggested name, because I guess he's watching while he's waiting to get a Wi-Fi password, is for our One Piece rewatch podcast is The Loof is Loose.
Oh god.
Which is pretty good. Scott, how's the Dragon Prince? What did you think?
It's good.
Okay.
The as far as how good it is, it's just that.
That's fine.
It's worth your time to watch, but I wouldn't say it's amazing.
Okay. To be fair, like I think
it has.
Oh, go ahead.
It has potential because the first season is 9 episodes of 11 minutes each. So it's not a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it, and I'd say the bad thing about it at the same time, is that they treat it that way too.
Okay.
So there's not too much I want to say. It's because you guys want to watch it.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted the status report.
But yeah, this is definitely a show I think for both of you.
Cool. Good to hear.
Yeah, and I'll say from my update, I'm 22 chapters into Words of Radiance, which is the second book.
Second book.
Yeah.
How many chapters are there? There's like 87.
124 chapters in the second book.
They're
a little bit shorter.
I looked up the length of the books just out of curiosity. It's like 87 chapters or whatever in the first book.
Yep.
And I'm like, damn. Like I'm in like the first King Killer Chronicles book is 97 chapters, and I'm like, all right, fucking let's go, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna say like I think from what I heard just about the Dragon Prince, and again it's just hearsay, but it's a lot like OG Avatar: The Last Airbender. Obviously not like Korra.
if you had to if those were in two opposite ends and you had to put it on a scale, yes.
Okay.
But I would say it's different entirely.
Okay. Cool. That's cool to hear, honestly. How much magic is there?
It's hard because it's in about every episode, but it's not exactly in your face.
Okay.
I'll put it this way. It's more prevalent than the Avatar's world of bending.
Okay.
But we don't get to see it yet.
Okay.
And it makes sense. And I can say that without ruining anything because you'll find that out in the first 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. That's a good way to put it. I appreciate the protection of spoilers, Scott. But yeah, I'm in. Got a lot of magic going on a lot of places right now. I'm feeling good about it. Nabishin said he's cat sitting at a friend's house. They're out of town and can't get a damn password texted back to me. You gonna try and track down this router, Nabishin? Trying to hop in the Discord call from your phone.
I don't know if you saw it, but I did toss those two images in there in the chat for you.
Oh, okay. Let me look at them. We're everyone watching at home. Okay, cool. This was more of what I was thinking about that size, kind of like sprite size.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Is this second image like 3D rendered?
I don't know.
It's very weirdly detailed. That's about what I thought Kaladin looked like too. Hot, which is to say hot.
Yeah. So like where he is right now, probably a little more scruff.
Yeah, a little bit more scruffy.
A little more smell like poop.
Yeah, a lot of poop. A lot of poop smell.
A lot of slave smell.
A lot of slave smell. A lot of eating slop smell.
This shit ain't going anywhere anytime soon, I'll tell you what.
I bet not. I got that vibe. I'm like, all right, time to settle into this situation. Hold on. Do these 3D renders don't have marks on his forehead though? Interesting. Spoilers to me.
Well, actually, no, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them do.
Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. Is more subtle than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're not going away either, so
cool.
Don't worry.
Cool. I mean, we could stall for a little bit more time for Nabishin if you guys like, or we can get started.
I mean,
I'm okay with stalling.
I'm eating chicken, so.
Jesus, what kind of chicken?
Rotisserie chicken, but like rotisserie chicken cooked in a slow cooker.
Oh hell yeah! Like pulled.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like a recipe for like. I think it was pork. Yeah, it was like carnitas, like cooked in a slow cooker, but it's like cooked together, like as the slab, and then when it's done, it just comes out of the slow cooker and just falls apart. And I'm like, that looks like my mouth is watering right now thinking about it. That sounds great.
I tell you about the purchase that I made this week.
What'd you get?
So I'm moving on the end of this month.
Oh, cool.
And I needed a new like bed situation. So I purchased a Lisa mattress.
Nice. You leased a mattress.
I didn't lease it. I bought it.
Okay, well, you can lease a Lisa mattress. But okay.
Why would you ever do that?
I don't know, man. I don't know why anyone would lease a mattress, but that's
it doesn't make any sense.
That's what the whole play on words of that website is.
Yeah, I bought one on Monday, and I was interested. I was like, I guess I'll buy it now because the sale's going on, and I'm going to need it by the time I move. So I figured I'd just let it sit here until I move. And it still hasn't shipped. So I'm glad that I ordered it so early, because then the chances of it being here by the 1st are still pretty good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that sounds interesting. I watched a bunch of videos on mattresses, and I figured that was probably a good one for the price.
Yeah.
I got it on sale too, so it wasn't too bad.
I was gonna say, like, it must be tricky deciding between what podcast advertised mattress to get, Lisa, Casper, or
Purple.
Yeah,
Well,
So,
purple is like 3 times as expensive, so
Yeah.
that was kind of out of the question for me.
mhm,
And yeah, so I ended up going with the Lisa.
yeah.
So I got to do that, and then when I actually move, I'm gonna go pick up like a new bed frame.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna get I'm just gonna basically I've got some furniture plans over the next like month and a half.
Hell yeah, dude. Are you moving an apartment?
I'm so my brother needed a roommate for a couple like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on like his situation, and the price that I would pay to live there is half what I'm paying now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll come hang out for 6 months or more. So yeah, I'm moving in there for a while, and I'll see where to go from there. But for now, seems like it should be pretty good. He owns his own house,
Okay.
so
Cool. That's not a bad deal. I'd take that. All right. Nabishin has commanded us to just start. So let's get the party rolling, and we'll talk about some stuff. But you better show up, Nabishin. I just looked at my phone. I got a voicemail from Jake Nichols, and he wants you to listen to it. I don't know if that means anything to anyone. You guys got Audacities readies?
nope.
Could you get it ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Ready to fuck. Scott, you good?
1 second.
Cool.
I was not ready.
Okay. I'm looking at selfies people tweeted at me.
I also watched all this week's episode of Mass Alex.
I did too.
That show's good.
That show's great.
I just like watching Mass Effect with Vinny and Alex.
Yeah, dude. I love how much Vinny loves watching Alex play Mass Effect.
And I really liked watching Alex get shut down.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's so good.
Oh, that was so funny. He's like, what are we doing?
Hello? I want to be part of this.
Come on. Why not now?
I'm
Maybe
ready.
later. All right, cool. On 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gotta adjust.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite series on Giant Bomb in a while.
Yeah, it's very Metal Gear Scanlan-esque.
I like that one, and I watched the one of their quick looks. I usually don't watch Giant Bomb quick looks unless it's on like a game that I'm personally very interested in.
Mm-hmm.
But they were playing a game on UPF, and then they did a quick look of it, and I was like, I gotta watch this one just for the memes.
Yeah.
SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy.
Jared
Funny.
Jared got that game for review, and I was like, we were talking about it in our editorial thread. I'm like, so like, what's our coverage for this game looks like? And he's like, none.
0.
Game's a joke. And I'm like, yeah, but like, he's like, nah, son, you don't want this. That game seems real bad for a variety of reasons.
Real bad, but real good at being real bad.
Oh yeah, very, very good at being very bad. Oh, thanks, Mike. Mike is tuning in. He's listening on his phone while Podcast Ultimate exports. All right, let's get this party started. It is Saturday, September 22nd, 2018, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I'm your host, Alex O'Neill, and joining me this week, I have two wonderfully lovely gentlemen, Scott Guthier.
Hello.
And Tony Horvath.
Uh,
We will be joined, hopefully, by our good fourth seat, Brian Nabishin Jackson, momentarily. And then things are going to get buck wild. But for those of you listening, welcome, hello. It's the Irrational Passions podcast. It's time to get wet and wild. These stunts are about to get wet and wild, fellas. Something video games.
Hell yeah.
We got a great show lined up for all y'all. Starting with some lovely housekeeping brought to you by IrrationalPassions.com, where tons of things went up on the website, such as a review of The Gardens Between, a game that Quentin Hoffman liked quite a bit, or a review of State of Mind, a game that Mike Burgess liked quite a bit, or a review of Yakuza Kiwami 2 that Logan Wilkinson had a lot of problems with, actually, as it turns out. Maybe the most labored post he has ever made on IrrationalPod.com, but a lot of time and consideration went into it. And there's a new episode of Input up on the website as well, our other show about news in video games and culture. That was about, I guess, I don't know if you guys know this, YouTube Gaming is shutting down. Effective January 1st, 2019, it will be completely gone. Not that, like, anyone really used it, I feel, or engaged with it.
No, I mean, it popped up as like an ad for me, like, hey, try this a couple times. And I was like, no, thanks.
Nope. And it's like, it's one of those weird things because it was definitely focused a lot about streaming. We do stream to YouTube every week, but like we just do it through normal YouTube, not gaming.youtube.com. Very weird.
Yeah, that sounds very unwieldy.
Yeah, it seems like just a thing that maybe not a lot of people used. So that is going the way of the dodo. And there's probably going to be another episode of Input by the time this goes up. I apologize that we've been running a little bit behind on IP episodes. It's completely my fault. Audio posts, that wise. I'm working on catching up. I'll have 3 shows to post this coming week, and they will be all out for your downloadable audio pleasure. But a couple other things that should be out soon. We recorded the last episode of our Batman Arkham Asylum video game book club. So that's done. We finished Batman Arkham Asylum. We talked about the ending. That should be out sometime this coming week, possibly maybe the week after. We announced what our October book club game is going to be. Very excited about it. I guess tune into that. Find out what it is. And we recorded episode 3 of Podcast Ultimate, our Super Smash Brothers Ultimate podcast. We had Blessing Adeoye Jr. on it from OK Beast. And we talked about Smash Brothers. I have a question. I know you don't necessarily care too much about Smash Brothers, Tony, but I got a question for you, Scott. Listen, do you care about Smash Brothers?
Yeah.
All right. Then I'll suppose to you. So there's a lot of, well, I guess there was a leak that happened this week, but I'm going to ask you guys just with not including that leak. There's a lot of speculation that because Simon Belmont and Richter Belmont are going to both be in Smash Brothers Ultimate, that there could be like an Echo Fighter, so like a kind of like a clone for all of the third-party characters. So maybe like speculation that maybe Zack will be an Echo Fighter for Cloud. So they have similar move sets, but some things might be different. I want to ask you both, for Ryu, speculation is that Ken could be an Echo Fighter for Ryu, or Akuma could be an Echo Fighter for Ryu.
What's an Echo Fighter again, exactly?
An Echo Fighter is kind of like a clone. They have, like, so for example, Marth and Lucina. Lucina is an Echo Fighter of Marth. So she has the same basic moveset, but some of her attacks, hitboxes, and specials are a little bit different. And Dark Pit is an Echo Fighter of Pit, like his side special is different, for example. So they're generally very similar, but some
Didn't
things...
Dark Pit take another character slot?
So the Echo Fighters in Smash Brothers Ultimate are they don't technically take another character slot. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think of all the Echo Fighters. So like Dark Pit, Richter Belmont is an Echo of Simon Belmont. Oh God, maybe I'll just pull up the website. Dark Pit's like the big one, I know. It's weird because like Dr. Mario is not an Echo Fighter of Mario. Even though they kind of are very similar, but Lucina is an Echo Fighter of Chrom, or of Marth. Chrom is an Echo Fighter of Roy. All the fucking Fire Emblem characters. Dark Pit's an Echo Fighter of Pit. And Richter is an Echo Fighter of Simon. So right now those are the only known ones. So people are speculating that they're trying to work in more villains in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Oh, and Dark Samus is an Echo Fighter of Samus. They're trying to work in more villains. So would you rather see Ken as like an echo of Ryu, or Akuma as an echo of Ryu? So I feel like Ken could be cool too. But I like the idea.
I don't know how you say no to Akuma.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Akuma, I feel, is like the coolest. And I think his moveset would feel different, even if it is like, like all the Shoto characters in Street Fighter are very similar to each other. But what do you think, Scott? Which would you rather have?
I think Ken would make more sense.
Mm-hmm. So the leak that happened this week, there was like a screenshot leak. We talked about this on this episode of Podcast Ultimate. That's why I'm asking you guys. There was like a screenshot leak that it looked like Ken is in Smash Brothers Ultimate. It looked very legit. Maybe I sent it to you guys during the break, but which it's fine. I just think Akuma would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ken would be easier, make more sense. He has the fire dragon punch, I'm sure, and that'd be cool. So, but yeah, we talked about that on Podcast Ultimate. We talked about Isabelle being announced in Animal Crossing a little bit. The good stuff. Nabashin, who's not here but is watching us live, chimes in saying that Dan should be an Echo Fighter. Shout out to Dan. Joke fighters. All
One time.
But yeah, that's all the good stuff going up on IrrationalPod.com. Plenty of great stuff. I will, hopefully within this coming week, I will have finished and written a review of Valkyria Chronicles 4 as well. So that's another thing to look forward to. But enough about housekeeping. Let's talk about video games. I want to talk to you guys about video games. Scott, what you been playing?
Once again, heavy week, so not too much.
Hold
The extra
on.
time I took was to watch The Dragon Prince. So.
Hold on, Scott. Can I ask you a slightly different question?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
What game are you playing right now?
Put part in the kimono on this one.
This one's a bit embarrassing. I'm managing my inventory in video.
It's a lot of clicking, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Like,
clicking for
listen.
this inventory management.
Have we told you about overstacking?
No. Is it like when we discovered stacking in Animal Crossing New Leaf?
No.
It was a big deal. Okay.
So you get overweight in BDO. So in order to move things comfortably, you have to way overstack your character.
Okay.
So in order to do this, you have to click back and forth items onto your horse and back onto your character over and over again.
Jesus.
And the shit that I'm moving is heavy. So I'm moving very small amounts at a time.
That sounds like too much work for not enough reward.
You're
Agreed.
supposed to do it more often.
Yeah. But to be fair, like, the fact that you had to stack your goddamn fruit every time you picked up fruit in Animal Crossing. Let me tell you.
Or remember when they didn't stack?
Yeah. To be fair, stacking is a game changer. You decided to get back into the beets market or whatever, the turnip market.
You made
Tony?
so much money with that shit.
Dude, you got to link me to the Reddit day one because I want to get in on this. Okay.
I remember. I remember it being like there's people tracking that shit.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
So funny.
The prices are up. You were like, yeah, I got like 6 million bells. I'm like, what the fuck did you do? It's like, let me show you this Reddit real quick.
Let me show you how Reddit works.
That was like the first time I ever like really engaged in Reddit, and it was very much a moment of you like mentoring me of like, here's how Reddit works. But yeah, I've been thinking about Animal Crossing a lot this week and how great it's gonna be on Switch. And yeah, that Reddit's gonna be blowing up. So nothing really, Scott?
Not much.
Okay.
Just Black Desert, and then I took the time out to watch Dragon Prince.
Fair enough. Only so many hours in the day.
I played League with me.
Oh. Did you bring Tony's rank down more?
No, we play normal games now.
Okay.
We play with more than just me and Scott.
Okay. Did you play with
Yeah, you can't really rank with more than
2 people.
2 people.
Really, you can't like roll with a
You
full squad.
can. It's just it puts you in flex queue, which nobody cares about.
Is that like
So ranked games are either solo duo, which is you go in by yourself or with one person,
mhm.
and you're matched with other people who are by themselves or with one person, and you play. Or flex, which is anything but by yourself. I think. What is it? No, anything but a party of 4 can queue for flex. So you have 2 people, 3 people, or 5 people. You can play flex, which is basically just like I said. It's the version of ranked nobody cares about because it's not solo queue.
That's so you can't like there's no ranked for like full teams?
That would be flex.
That's
Okay.
flex.
But no one cares
Yeah.
about that?
Not really.
That's so weird. You would think like there would be there's like professional league players, right?
Yeah, but like if you ever ask like a league player like, "Hey, what rank are you?" The accepted thing that you are asking for is their solo queue rank, not their flex rank. And if someone's like, like, "Hey, what rank are you?" Like, "Oh, I'm gold 4 in flex." Then you're like, "Cool, what's your solo queue?"
Cool, whatever, you fucking nerd. It's legitimately blowing my mind right now that people like the professional league players predominantly play alone.
Well, that's a little different. Like people play solo queue, but professionals they don't play like on the ladder,
Yeah.
with their like teams. They do instead they will play they'll play scrimmages like private games with other teams of 5 that in order to practice. There's no real need for the for that for solo queue, or rather for flex, for those kind of teams, because they don't want to play against random people. They want to play against other people who are good.
Yeah.
So
Are there other games that you can think of that are like that?
I don't know.
Yeah. So like my most similar touchdown, which is not very similar, is like Overwatch, and like on the high ranks of things, it's like teams of 6 versus teams of 6. Like
Right.
weird, huh? I guess that 15-hour binge session I played of League alone was very indicative of the professional experience.
Mm-hmm.
I was right there with you guys that one time. Tony, what about you?
So I played some League.
Yeah. You still frustrated as fuck?
Yeah, I haven't played ranked. I just play solo. Or like, I'll play with people and play some normal games. Still battling to get my Mastery 7 on Aurelian Soul. Need one more S plus or S rank, which is crazy. Like the way that getting Mastery 7 works, which honestly I probably should have got it by now. I just trash. You at the end of each game, your basically your performance in that game is weighed against other people's performance on your champion, and then you're given a grade based on how good you did. So like if you met what what people who do well on your champion typically do, you get like an A. And then if you do even better, you get an A plus, S minus, S, or S plus. And once you've played a champion a certain amount, then you start to be able to unlock like higher levels of mastery of that champion. First level, you need to get 2 games with an S minus or an S minus or higher, and then combine it with some blue essence, which is like the currency you earn by
It's
leveling
like the
up.
weed. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, and that gives you mastery level 6, and then you have to get S or S plus 3 times, and then combine that with some blue essence to get mastery level 7. It doesn't do anything. It just gives you like you can spam like an emote in the game that's you can only use on a champion if you're mastery 7 with that champion. So people use it as like, look, I'm better than you. Ha ha ha! Check out my mastery. But it's like I only really play that champion, so I might as well get mastery 7 with it. So anyway, I'm mastery 6 and have 2 out of 3 of the tokens of getting an S or an S plus. But it seems like every time I do really well on Aurelian Soul, the rest of my team is absolute garbage. So like I'll go like 10-2, and then go from 10-2 to like 10-8 because we can't team fight because everyone else on my team's like 0-7. So it's just like, and then by the end of the game, your performance isn't as good. So
because you tell me about these horror stories all the time, Tony.
Sure, but I mean they're mixed in with also me being shit.
Yeah, but like I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. You're my friend, all right? I play League with you. I think you're pretty good. But the other team, like they're working together.
Yeah.
Why can't my team work together? Like, why can't your team work together?
Good question.
Fucking scrubs, man. Well, you'll get there.
There was this one funny game that I played Yorick, and I went like 16-0 and won the game basically by myself. It was really funny because Yorick, his abilities are set up for him to just push lanes by himself. Like his Q makes his next auto attack do more damage and leave a grave if it kills someone. Then if you got 3 graves within a certain radius of you, you can activate it again to pull up little ghouls from the ground who will attack things. And his ultimate, he summons a giant ghost that will push the lane that he summons it in, and also 3 ghouls with it. Ooh. So you just sit in lane, and your Q, which makes you do more damage, works on towers too. So you just sit in your lane, farm, and then smack the, like, literally if someone leaves your lane, like your opponent leaves lane or whatever, you could probably take their tower the first time they leave. It's because of how much damage you do when you're sieging towers. So I was playing against a Kale, and I got like first blood on them. I solo killed them 3 times before they were like, they're level 2 and I was level 5, which is a huge bit difference in League. And this person was irrelevant for the entire rest of the game. And like their jungler came up to lane and tried to fight me, and I 2v1'd both of them. And then the jungler was like, wow, Yorick is huge. And they just left my lane alone. I pushed all the way into their base, went bot lane, pushed all the way into their base, went mid while my team was doing something else, pushed all the way into their base. Basically, like I said, by the end of the game, 15-0, did like nothing but smack towers, and it's so fucking dumb. Because Yorick's the only champion that can really do that.
That's
it's just
awesome.
Like split push so hard. You leave him alone for like 2 minutes, and he's taken 3 towers. So that was a fun game.
That's cool.
I don't like when the stuff in League and like early plays you make line up on a character like that and let you just make everyone else in the game irrelevant. Like their tankiest person dies in 2 hits from your Q. It's a really fun. That's one of the more fun things in League when you actually get a chance to be super powerful like that. So yeah, I don't know. League's fun. It's definitely frustrating at times, but it does have those redeeming moments where your plays and stuff actually do end up paying out.
It's got its ups and downs.
Yeah,
that's fair. I'm just I'm rooting for you always. It's my undying support.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you've been playing?
So I'm playing World of Warcraft.
Got back to it.
My friends asked me to play, so I started playing. There's some cool stuff actually that they're doing in there. That I hadn't really taken a look at when I was playing before. Like they've got these island expeditions where you go, like, because the whole plot of the new thing is the 2 factions are at war over this material that was unearthed when the giant sword got slammed into the planet, called azurite. Like it's basically like you mine it like you would any other like ore. And so it's all over the place. And so the Horde and Alliance are competing to get it, and there are these islands out in the ocean that have this material on it. And so the scenario is set up where like your team of 3 and a horde ship pull up to the island at the same time, or the opposite faction, and you have to try and get as much of the material like from the stuff on the island and get out of there before the enemy. So you got to go through this scenario of this like battle to gain materials, and then once you finish, you win. So that one's pretty neat. But the more interesting one just came out recently called Warfronts, where there's like this whole like battle for a certain section of the map scenario where you have to like go around, and it's 20 versus 20, but it's kind of 20 versus 20. It's 20 people from your faction versus a bunch of NPCs from the enemy team, and so you go on there and you beat a boss and establish your fort, and then you can kind of choose what you want to do from there. But people need to go and collect wood. People need to go and take back a mine and collect iron. Other people need to go and take these strategic points, which give you bonuses. And you build up your fort, and you do all this over like 35 minutes. And then that kind of culminates in you taking your now upgraded troops, upgraded everything. You summon stuff to come with you and help you, and you barrage the enemy team's base, break down the door, and kill their commander. and it's neat. It's kind of neat to do it. They've kind of given it a meaning to do it because the mythic dungeons that you do, which are just one step below the raid, give 340 item level gear. The Warfront also gives you a piece of 340 item level gear every time you do it. So you can just do this over and over again on a new character as long as they're already item level 320 until all your items are 340 or more. So it makes sense to just spam it if you can and get all that gear that way. So I definitely spent a considerable portion of time just playing the Warfront over and over again, but it's a neat system. I think that they've kind of taken those kind of ideas into Battlegrounds before in WoW, and I think this is one of the better implementations of that kind of thing. It's neat.
That is cool. Kind of sounds like League of Legends.
Well, not really.
I know.
But some of the concepts are there.
Yeah, MOBA-esque concepts. I like the idea of kind of like a repeatable multiplayer mode. It feels like something that wouldn't fit into WoW, weirdly enough, even though I know they have like their PvP mode and all that, but
yeah, I think that for it to work in there, it has to be so simplified that it kind of becomes boring pretty quick. Because I don't know, I was in there just watching a thing on YouTube, running around and collecting resources, then running back to the base and upgrading buildings. Because I didn't want to, I wasn't paying enough attention to go kill stuff. So I instead I was just grabbing materials the whole time.
How long does an excursion take?
The whole scenario takes around 35 to 40 minutes, depending on how fast your group is.
Cool.
So
that's good. Cool. I'm glad you're still having at least some fun with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done the raid or anything yet. I just log in when they ask me to come play, pretty much.
Cool. Anything else on the list?
I don't know. I think that's pretty much all of them playing.
Okay. I have continued to play what I was playing last week. A couple of I do some new things, but a couple of little things I played. Undertale came out on Switch, so I bought it on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to see if you go to the top charts on Switch, the number one selling game right now is Undertale. It's nice, feels good. I just played a little bit of that, and it was just I have not played it since I got the pacifist ending. I've not even started it, and I immediately just got very emotional going back to it, just hearing the music and all that. So again, I played 10 minutes of it, but it was cool just to feel that again. So Dark Souls is coming out on Switch in October. Dark Souls Remastered. It was delayed from the original summer release date. Originally, it was coming out day and date with all the other consoles in May. It was delayed to summer, and now it's coming out sometime in October. But they did a play test, a server test on it. They're doing it. They did it last night, tonight, Saturday, and Sunday as well. Maybe Monday, but I think that's it. And I was I'm not I already bought Dark Souls Remastered on PS4. Already played most of it. Probably won't go back to it for a little bit. But I just want to see how it ran on Switch, because when I played it on Switch at PAX East, it was rough. And they've pretty much just smoothed it out. So it is comparable to the original Dark Souls experience I had on PS3. So which is fine. I was playing in a handheld mode. I'm this is cool. It's cool to play Dark Souls on the go. If you've not played Dark Souls before, it's still a great game, still worth playing. So getting the Switch version might be fun. But yeah, it's not all framey and stuff. And there was this weird thing where the controls, the A and B buttons, were all flip flopped every back and forth, and they changed that to be just kind of the standard controls. So it's good. But I think those are all the little things. I mentioned this last week, bought Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Haven't played it all yet. Still got to get through some other bullshit. So I played more Spider-Man. Not a lot of Spider-Man, but played more. I continue to have a relatively good time with it. I don't think there's anything crazy special about it necessarily. It is now, I'm sure you guys might not have heard, but it's now the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive ever.
Oh boy.
I think it sold 3.3 million copies in 3 days, which is crazy. I'm not necessarily surprised. Obviously, like Marvel movies are super big right now. Spider-Man's super big, and PlayStation's super big. So, but I've always enjoyed Insomniac. I've always enjoyed their games. I'm happy to see them do very well. But yeah, I'm just having a good time swinging around the city. I haven't really done much of the story in that game, so just bullshitting. I've continued my quest to get raid ready in Destiny 2. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's taking a lot out of me. It's rough. The grind is very real, and I'm kind of conflicted about it. Just because it's like if there's a lot of diminishing returns, which to be fair is how, I don't know. I feel like it might be like more rough than even like getting ready for King's Fall and Wrath of the Machine. Correct me, and you might remember better than I do, Tony, so correct me if I'm wrong. But for those, like they had the Court of Oryx, right, for King's Fall, and that would just progressively still drop better and better loot, right?
It's been a while. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
To a point.
Yeah, to a point. But I think that point was still like what you needed to be for the raid. I think. I don't. Again, it's been a while for me too. So.
Yeah.
And I think the like equivalent kind of drop this key in and do this public event thing for Wrath of the Machine also did that to a point for the Wrath of the Machine raid. But so there is a similar thing. Hi, Nobishin.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Dude.
Let me get you in here. What was their response when they saw that you need the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, her phone was in her purse and she never has her alarm on, so it was like in there for like an hour.
Hell yeah. What's the Wi-Fi password? Someone set me free from this internet communist state. Okay, because I didn't want to talk about Valkyria Chronicles without you here. You ready, bud? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Before we talk about Destiny more, Nobishin's here.
Hi.
Hi, Nobishin. Nobishin, let me tell you about grind. On the grind. So the thing about the Forsaken expansion in Destiny 2 is there's no thing that you can do like over and over and over again to get raid ready.
There's no thing or nothing.
No thing, no one thing, right?
Okay.
There are things you can do, so there's not nothing, I would say, but a lot of that is like weekly bounties, I guess. So you get prime engrams. I went over this briefly last week. You get prime engrams, which can actually get you higher power level, your total like gear level, and the gear level requirement or recommendation for the Last Wish raid is 550, right? So there are different caps that go throughout the game. So like the game will give you bullshit base level loot that'll get you to 500 power, so 500 gear level. So you can get there relatively easily. Just play the story, get uncommon or rare drops or whatever, and you'll be fine. But legendary drops, rare drops, all that caps out at 500. And then you have to do special things to get powerful gear or prime engrams. And those are the only things that will start dropping above 500. So you get one prime engram random drop a day. You have your weekly things that you can do, like getting a certain amount of clan XP, running 3 strikes every week, running 3 heroic story missions every week, and those reset on the global reset, which is like Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. And like there's like a Crucible weekly thing, so it's like 5 to 7 pieces of powerful gear, and they've added a little bit more to that. And then you get your daily stuff. So there are like different daily quests that drop throughout the week. So like one drops on Wednesday, one drops on Friday, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is, like, those things will only drop. They won't be as high, much higher than like the weekly stuff. So let's say my power level, my gear level equates to 395. And that's like a spectrum. Let's say my gun is, or not 395, 595 or 535, let's say. My gun is 540, but my chest piece of armor is 530. So it averages out to my overall power being 535. Obviously, there's more pieces of loot, but this is just for example's sake. So let's say I did a weekly quest, and that will guarantee to give me a piece of powerful gear that is 5 levels higher than my average level. So 5 levels higher than 535. So that'll give me a piece of 540 loot, which will, for the most part, probably be better than something that I have. But my daily stuff will only give me something that is 1 power level higher than my average. So it'll only give me something that is 536 in this example. I know there's a lot of math going on. I apologize. But if, for example, that daily that I did drop something that's 536, and it's a primary weapon or a kinetic weapon in this case, my primary is already 540. So I got this 536 gun, and I did this thing that only comes like once every week, really, and I got nothing out of it.
Nice.
And there's a lot of that. Like, I think all of my daily stuff that I've done this week has dropped stuff that is like below, like a piece of loot that I didn't need necessarily. So this one shot I had at like getting something better, fucking blew it. All's done. So I feel like that whole system of like, well, these things get you a lot better loot, and these things get you maybe a little bit better loot is like kind of fucked. And it just makes a lot of things. You do these weekly things or whatever, and you just end up getting something that you don't need. And it's like, well, fuck, now I can't do this to get another piece to get me closer to this threshold to run the raid and do the best content in the game until next week. So there was a lot of that. This week.
That's one of the things that I was asking about, or I wanted to ask about is the grind still, very much, dominated by weeklies?
It feels like it. So like, like we were kind of alluding to, things like Court of Oryx, things like those heroic public events that you can kind of grind out will continuously get you stuff that will put you up and up and up, and it doesn't cap out every week. Mm-hmm. So there is an equivalent of that. It's called the Blind Well, or the Well of Souls. In this, I think it's just called the Blind Well. Maybe the Well of Souls is what the event itself is called. And like there are 3 tiers to it, and then there's like a heroic tier, but all that stuff it's all like basic drops. So it's just gonna cap at 500, right? So that doesn't help. You can't just grind that out and get better and better and better stuff, because they want to make you do more things. And to be fair, like after someone the world's first beat the raid for the first time, it opened up a new strike and new like unique mission in the Dreaming City, like that cool post game area. And every week now there's a brand new, completely different mission in the Dreaming City, or at least so far there has been. I think that'll cap out at 3, but that's still one more week of a brand new mission every week. So it's something different they're introducing every week. It's only 1 or 2 things, but it's still cool that they are introducing new things post-launch, and like I have something new to look forward to on Tuesday, right? And I think that's rad, but it's just like that'll get me a cool piece of loot that'll get me my number up and get me closer to this, but I have no way of really grinding that out, except, so like there is kind of an exception to this. Every time you rank up in either of the multiplayer modes, so Gambit or Crucible, you get a Prime Ingram, like a powerful drop. So there are 3 tiers to every rank. So technically, if I wanted to, I could just play Crucible matches over and over and over again until I get raid ready, which is probably what the people that were raid ready week 1 did. But I have had an absolutely miserable time playing competitive multiplayer. I think Gambit's really cool, and that's like the new mode for your reference, Tony. Basically, it's 4v4, right? You go into a map, and you're separate from the other team, right? And you drop into a map and you are fighting enemies, like PVE. So it's called like PVE VP. So you're fighting enemies, and the enemies drop these motes of darkness. So you collect a bunch of motes. You cap at 15, and then you dump them in this like machine in the center of the map, and that puts more enemies on the opponent, like enemy team's map, and prevents them from depositing motes on their end of things. So they're called blockers. So you put for 5 motes, you can do a small blocker. For 10, you can do a medium, or for 15, you can do a large one. And they're like taken enemies that spawn on the enemy's map. And then there's a portal that will open up every now and again, so you can jump into it and appear on the other enemy team's map and try and kill their guardians. So you can make them drop their motes, or basically once 75 motes have been dropped into this machine, it summons a boss, and then you have the first person to beat the boss wins the round. So it's kind of like a race to the finish. But if, like, let's say you're in the final part of the match, both teams have summoned a boss, you go into the enemy's team and they're like really killing the boss. If for every guardian kill you get on their team, it heals the boss so much health. So the kind of last leg of the race is very much like trying to wear down your boss and kill the enemy team by jumping into their world every now and again, to kind of heal their boss. It's a very cool mode.
Sounds kind of cool.
Like I think the way it plays out, the pacing of it is very good. I think there's some balancing stuff as to like how often people can invade you and how often you can invade people, because only one person can go over to the enemy team at a time, which is good, but it kind of favors the portal favors the losing team, so it'll give them more chances to catch up, kind of like rubber banding at Mario Kart. So I think there's some balancing that could work there, but it's a cool mode. But Crucible, like the competitive multiplayer, I'm just like I'm barely having any fun with, and it's like I don't play Destiny for competitive multiplayer. But if I want to get raid ready, that's kind of like my only thing. I gotta just continuously forever play competitive multiplayer, because I've done all the things I can do this week. So that sucks. I know it's like a very complicated way to explain that, but I'm conflicted because I appreciated in Destiny 2 that you could just do whatever the fuck and you'll get raid ready. Like, I'm just hanging out. Oh, I got another legendary. I'm one step closer to the raid.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but it feels like you don't really earn it. Whatever. I got to the raid. I was able to do it. We had all of our runs and we had a great time. So this like makes it far more of an effort to get there, and it's just taking so much more time. But that being said, I am 540, so I'm like 10 power levels below what they recommend for the raid.
So if I were to pick this game up and start playing from like first raid gear,
Mm-hmm.
what's like how many weeks of weeklies or whatever would it take to get to that point?
So I mean, you would get.
This is all hypothetical.
Hypothetical. I understand. You would get to 500 probably within like 8 hours or less, right? Max level.
Is they increased the level cap too?
Yeah, so it's level 50 is the level cap.
What was it before? 40?
20.
Oh wow, okay.
So 20, and the max power was 310, I believe, or 320.
So I think I was like there basically.
Yeah, you were, I believe so. So the 2 expansions each added 5 levels. So Curse of Osiris got the level cap to 25, and then 30 with Warmind, and then Forsaken bumped that to 50, and the max power is 500. So again, like you get to 50, you get to 500, probably like 8 hours or so, depending on how quickly you blow through all the content. It's good stuff. Man, I don't know. Depends on RNGesus, man. Because like those dailies, like I said, they can get you up, or they can fuck you. I would say probably like if you did like a bunch of Crucible, you'd be ready there in a week, but that would take a lot of time. Doing weeklies, I think the most it would take would be 3 weeks. It's been 2 weeks for me, and I'm like kind of. If I waited another week, I'd probably be fine. I wouldn't have to worry about it. But because I fucked up one of my weeklies this past week as well, and I didn't have like my most powerful gear on when I turned it in, and so I just got I was lower power, and I got a shitty drop, and it's like, oh, I fucked myself. God damn it. So I would say 3 weeks if you wanted to take it slow. You could do it in 1 if you did a lot of Crucible or a lot of Gambit. So that's it. It is hard to estimate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, I appreciate them trying to appeal to their fan base. I appreciate that they are putting in a lot of stuff to do. Like, it's not like there's not a lot to do. Like, I still have some weekly bounties that give powerful gear that I'm working on, and we're in Saturday, so it's like 5 days after reset or whatever, 4 days. So I still have new or different things I can technically do. It's just some of them are very grindy. So, like I said, I'm pretty conflicted about all of it. But what I'm not conflicted about is Valkyria Chronicles 4. Nabishin, what do you want to know about Valkyria Chronicles 4?
That you need to count me in.
Oh, did not start recording?
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, cool.
Now we're good?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything to add to the Destiny conversation?
Not anymore.
Okay. You can, if you want to chime in something.
No, it's a jumble now, so don't worry about it.
Fair enough. Nabishin, what do you want to know about Valkyria Chronicles 4?
What you got?
It's very good. It's one of those things where, like, I know you're, like, very excited about it, and I was like, I didn't want to be too excited. Like, I didn't know what to expect, I guess that's where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, like, keeps getting better the more I play it, which is great. It's, like, also, like, just full of stuff. Like, it is way more, quote-unquote, feature complete than, like, the first Valkyria Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't to say the first one is, like, short or doesn't have a lot in it. It does. It's just, like, it's kind of like the story, and then you have, like, skirmishes to grind out levels if you wanted to. Whereas, like, this, you have the story. Throughout the story, there are, like, interlude chapters, which I really appreciate. They're, like, flashbacks to kind of... Because it kind of just, as you play the demo, and that's how the game starts, like, it just throws you into this is the squad and this is this team. And, like, you get to know them as the story goes on, but then you kind of get the origins of how certain things came about in the flashback story, or in the interludes. And, like, the interludes will drop at, like, a very dramatic point in the story. So it's like, fuck, I gotta get through this interlude so I can find out what's going on after this.
Right.
Which is, it's both good and bad, but, it's fun. They're not too long, too. So I appreciate that they're kind of, like, doing a different thing with how they're telling the story. But also, so, like, you know how in Valkyria Chronicles 1, all your ancillary squad mates have, like, preferences of people they like to be around?
Yeah.
So, like, if you do a mission and those people are around each other, you have the chance of unlocking one of your squad stories. And typically, like, it's a ring of characters, so it's like 3 or 4 characters that all like each other. So the squad stories are things that unlock by taking those people together out on missions, and they will have their own, like, little side story. And it's like it's a full mission, and it's a bunch of fully voice acted cutscenes with those kind of ancillary members of your squad. So it's really cool, because, as you know from the first game, which this is very much more a direct sequel to, like, those guys are just never mentioned. It's like, what was the squad letter in Valkyria Chronicles 1? Squad E?
Squad 7.
Squad 7. Yes. It's not a letter. So it's, like, Squad 7 is, like, these 5 dudes and I guess a whole bunch of other people. In this, they really kind of flesh it out, as, like, it is, your kind of core characters, but also these other people. And it's cool because, like, sometimes in cutscenes it'll show, like, some of those ancillary dudes, and they'll, like, show up and interact with the main characters, and, like, they'll express their personality, and they'll be in cutscenes in the main story as well. They'll show up, and it's like, oh yeah, I just use that person on that mission because I think they're cool or they look cool or whatever. So the fact that they get their own stories and they kind of build their own relationships with each other, and doing those squad stories unlocks new potentials. So like random power-ups that they can sometimes receive. It'll unlock new, better ones by unlocking their squad story and playing through their story. It's really cool. It's like a super nice touch. Because I think, and you might know better than I do, Namshin, there was like DLC squad stories for Valkyria Chronicles 1, right?
Mostly just for Eddie, one of the squad members.
Yeah.
Like the only real characteristic about Eddie that she doesn't really like Rosie, and like that was mostly it actually, because but like yeah, it was just Eddie. Even a harder mode, one with the Valkyria woman. I can't remember her name. Starts with an S, like Siberia or something like that.
Silvaria?
Something like that. And
Yeah.
then there was like another mission, and that was all the DLC for the first game, I believe.
Yeah. So this is like, it feels like those kind of like baked into it. And every time like it encourages me to pair people up together that like each other, because I'm like, I want to unlock these things and I want to see them happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. Like, it's just like I get an extra mission, and like much like most of Valkyria Chronicles 4, the mission structure is very varied. It's very different from mission to mission. The objectives are very different from one another. The layout of the maps are very different from one another, and it challenges you in a lot of different ways. Like, it's, instead of like a second tank, you get an APC, which is kind of like an armored truck, but it can like take 3 dudes and get them very, very far, and then you can deploy out of it. And they actually like, I have to think about how can I use this and how can I.
Do you mean your squad members can ride on there and like you just take them farther distances?
So yeah, basically, it's like a car. So like, you can select the APC, and then from just selecting the APC, you can board up to 3 people into it.
Okay.
So like, I don't have to do each individual person getting into it and then move the APC. I can select the car and grab 3 people and go like a huge distance, and then I can deploy each one of them one at a time out of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's really cool. And it's like, oh shit, like this APC is super fragile, and if it gets blown up, with
That's
anyone
3
in it, they
people,
all get they all get retreated. It's like, fuck. But it's like really useful if, for example, like there was only I think one mission with it in the first game, of like those mounted turret boxes, kind of like the Normandy boxes, where like it's just constant machine gun fire, and it's like, my troops can't get through this, and the game's like, use your tank as cover, and it's like, I only have one of those, like, whereas like I can get my APC through those, and it'll take some damage, but like I can get a lot of troops behind those things and kind of go from there. So it's like a good strategic tool, and it's like, I feel like you didn't really need something like that in the first one, where you do, because of the way the maps are laid out and because of the way the missions are structured in this. It's a lot of, because it's, it's on the front lines of this big war. So like there's a lot of machine gunner turrets or those encampment boxes and like a lot of like really heavy weaponry. So they use that and they contextualize it in the missions very well. Like it feels like a front lines kind of war, versus like there's only one real big battle in Valkyria Chronicles 1, which is like infamously like chapter 6 and chapter 7 of that game. So there's just like a lot more of that here. And it's like one of those things, like the first chapter with like 2 maps in the one chapter was like chapter 3, whereas like that's something that wasn't introduced until like chapter 9 in Valkyria Chronicles 1. So like they're throwing multiple different missions and mission styles and objectives within the same themed chapters very early on, and challenge you in a lot of different ways very early on, which I like. Feels good. But yeah, like there's like, at first, for a while, it seems like the only real new thing that they introduced was the Grenadier, which is the new class. Which is like basically they have like a mobile mortar launcher, which is very, very helpful. But then like so they introduce this command skill. So you get your command points per turn, which are basically you have to spend 1 command point to move any unit. But then you also get SP, which are special points, which you can use for right now. I can only do one thing with it. But basically, if I take any of my leaders, so any of like the main characters pretty much, I can have them pair up with another unit, kind of like in Fire Emblem Awakening. So I can have them pair up with another unit and like they can walk together in one turn, which is super, it's like a complete game changer. Because then I can have them move up with another unit. If they attack, they're guaranteed to attack with that other unit. So like, let's say you had a Lancer and they were right next to each other, you can have 2 Lancers or up to 3 Lancers if they were friends, like shoot at a tank with 1 turn together, which is, I found that out very deep into the game. I was like, this is a game changer. But like, let's say I have my, like, I forget what they're called, a Ravager or whatever, the machine gun guy who's like Raz. He's one of the main characters, so he's a leader. So I have him take like a scout with him as far as he can go, which isn't that far. Maybe take out an enemy or something. And then I can select the scout who still has like their full movement bar and go with them like even further than they would normally. And it's like, oh, cool. Like this is very cool that I can kind of like combo movement back to back and have like get my units further in 1 turn or with 1 point. It's very cool. There's like a whole other thing that they just introduced for me now. I'm on chapter 8 for reference, which I think is, I have no idea. I think it's like toward like past the halfway point of the game at least. It seems like it doesn't have like 20 or 17 chapters or whatever the first one had. It might have like 12 is my guess, but I have no idea. But they introduced like a whole new mechanic, like a whole completely new thing I don't want to necessarily get into, but it just gives me more kind of tactical options. And it's very cool. And so it is one of those things where it just keeps getting better and better. And like the biggest thing I had the concern was like, am I going to like these characters as much as Valkyria Chronicles 1? And I would say like, I don't know if I like them as much, but I really like them. It's a little bit of a slow burn. I think like they really ease into each of their roles and their dynamics with one another and their relationships, but it's a very different thing and it's a very different feel. And you get really attached to them in a very different way. Like they're not kind of like this wholesome family type deal. They're more of like a ragtag all-stars, as in like they're all very different from one another, but like they're kind of considered rock stars because they are like the elites, right? They're the squad that gets shit done. And you earn that because the game is very hard. It's not hard, but it's very challenging. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very impressed with it. Like, I think last week when I was around chapter 3 or 4, I was like, this is very good, and it's kind of more of the same, but I'm kind of okay with that. Whereas, like, the more I played, the more new stuff they introduced, the cooler the characters got, and more the way things developed got. And the thing I'll say I like about it a lot is the stuff from 1 that I don't think gets enough credit, which is that it's like a really good, fair depiction of war, which is the thing I really wanted them to kind of nail because they nailed it so hard in 1, and they really do. Like, it's very different than like the Gallian forces because that's like this very small country fighting against impossible odds, and this is like you are part of like one of the big countries or alliances. The Allied power is like on the front lines of the main war. And it feels like front lines. Like, it feels like that kind of fight. It's got like those kind of Saving Private Ryan moments, and it is poignant, and it like does not sugarcoat things. It gets very dark sometimes, and I think they do a really good job at doing that. And I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm just really impressed with it. Like, I liked it a lot last week. I'm like head over heels now. So I'm excited for you to play it, Ocean.
Good shit.
But that's all I've been playing. Namishin, it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been playing?
Not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I played more Dragon Quest. Like, I'm probably like up to like probably 10 hours now.
Okay.
Got my second member in my party. Like, I got Eric, and now I just got I think her name's Veronica.
So you're like a total of 3 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm surprisingly just really enjoying that game more than I thought I would. Because like I was like, oh, I'll just give it a college try, and like see if I even like remotely even like it. Just because I heard like good things about it, like obviously, and I just wanted to try to see if I like it for myself, see if it like fits my taste. And yeah, it's just like it's a really joyous game. Like, it's like you could feel like it is an RPG, or JRPG I should say, and like and it is just like your typical like battle system, and like but like there's like just a level of polish and like the care for it. Just seems like it feels like it feels like one of those like just like AAA like really really good games. Like something to like a Final Fantasy 15 level. As far as like because the presentation is really good, even though it's animated. The presentation is like really good for what it is, and like for what you see from the art style. Very very Toriyama, but like you just go into your battles, and like and then you hear like the voice acting, which is very good localization. I have to say,
Cool.
like almost everybody has an accent of some sort, and like everyone feels believable in the roles that they play. Yeah, it's fun. It's a really good game.
Do you think I would like it?
I think you would. I think you would really really dig it. I think you will dig it just because of I don't well this is more for me, but like it different from most JRPGs. Like, I think you'll probably get like a Tales vibe from it. Being someone who has really play Tales games, other than Symphonia, but like yeah, I think it's uh I should say too, like the way I'm playing it is just like like I do the thing where I'm just grinding up for level just because I just want to. So just like I could just like get a good amount, like maybe like 2 or 3 hours of story content without worrying about like battles being like too difficult for me. So it's like I'll be in the area and I grind for like a few, maybe like an hour or two, just to level myself up. And just get through most of the stuff. But like it's fun that way. It's definitely a game I don't see myself beating this year, like at all. I feel like it's something I'll like probably beat like maybe sometime next year, maybe even longer than that. I don't know, but like it's good enough and accessible enough and streamlined enough that like I think I could just jump back into it like any, which is great. And
that's cool.
Yeah, I just really enjoy it.
There's something about a good slow burn game, because that's how it was with like Stardew when I played it. Which isn't like necessarily a game you beat, but it's like a nice slow burn. This is more of a leading question, but I'm just curious. Do you think like coming right off of like a more traditional JRPG like Final Fantasy VII and going right into Dragon Quest 11, do you think that like helped or hurt it in any way?
No, I think it would have felt the same.
Okay.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy VII was like its own little like trip. Final Fantasy VII, why I haven't really touched Octopath Traveler, and now that I'm playing Dragon Quest, like I probably won't touch that game at all now. Like I have it, I just haven't just played it at all. But yeah, yeah, I don't think my opinions would have swayed either way. Like I just enjoy it really like a lot. Like it makes me
Interesting.
it almost makes me want to play the Persona again, but like I don't have time to play that game
Yeah,
again.
I get you.
So
There's a thing, and yeah, you'll understand where I'm coming from with this. Like Ben Moore mentioned on Frame Trap, Easy Eyes podcast, you should listen to, listeners, about how like it introduces like new mechanics or like new stuff relatively frequently, that's like surprising to me. Because as for such a long game, so that was like the one thing. Because I guess my biggest concern with Dragon Quest XI is that it would get too repetitive. I don't know why I would have that, but I know that the Dragon Quest end of games are more grindy. But hearing that made me more interested. So I don't know.
yeah, I mean, but like it's also like fully voice acted and like I think it keeps you really into the world, like as much as you want to be into it. Like I think it's like it allows you just to jump in as much as you want to, as far as like being wrapped in what that world is and what you're involved in. So
Cool.
I think it's pretty good for that.
Cool. What else have you been playing?
I got the Capcom Beat 'em Up collection bundle.
Beat 'em up bundle. I believe they went for the alliteration with that.
Yes, it was Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle. It's just fun. It's real good games. Like I'm a fan of those type of games, and like I just play for fun. There's nothing really to say about them. It's like just fun beat 'em up type of games. And the only thing I will really mention personally, like Captain Commando was on there, and like I never played Captain Commando at all. And like obviously I've seen it in Marvel vs. Capcom for forever, so like I had high expectations for that game.
Yeah.
And like I expected more out of it. Like it has cool stuff. Like you can play as Captain Commando or a mummy or a ninja or a baby driving the mech, which is cool. His name is Baby Head. And he's actually like probably the best character in that game. But like I play mostly with everybody, but I just wanted to see like if something story wise happened by the end of that game, and nothing really, just like him saying Captain Commando.
Commando.
Yeah, pretty much. It sounds exactly like that. Maybe the game. So like
That's cool though.
yeah, but like those were fun. I enjoyed those a lot.
How many games are in there? Like 8?
Like 8. Like Final Fight, which was the first game I played and beat. Still love that
of course.
Very much more.
The classic.
Just like King of Dragons and like just a bunch of other ones that I did before. So like those are really good games. You know, and like like I played like stuff like Dragon's Crown and stuff like that. So like yeah, it appeals to my taste. So I enjoy that. So it's a lot.
That's cool. That's a cool announcement, I thought.
Yeah, just like to announce something and just have it immediately come out. Yeah, that's like I think that's the best way to sell those games. Like to sell that bundle in general. Just like, hey, it's the shadow drop and like you'll just jump right into it.
Yeah. What else you
got? Playing a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles. Like I'm almost rebeat that game. I'm close to it. Kind of dragging my feet now because I'm on chapter, I think it's 11. And that's the big moment in the game for me, at least one of the big moments in that game. So like I'm dragging my feet with it because I know what's happening. So it's like
yeah, I remember that feeling.
Yep.
I do have one thing, and you're playing 1, so you'll I think you'll know where I'm coming from. Not that you wouldn't if you weren't right now playing it. One kind of small criticism for Valkyria Chronicles 4 I forgot to mention. There's no like villain representation. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate, for as weird and sometimes awkward as those scenes are in Valkyria Chronicles 1, where they show like Maximilian, who's like leading the Gallian invasion. He's like the prince of the empire. They're awkward, and he's got like his kind of council of 5 or whatever. I appreciate that, like, each of them kind of had their quirks, and then you learn a little bit more about them when you face off against them. There's no real equivalent to that in 4. There is like,
is that really a bad thing though? Do you need like a quote unquote Hitler?
No, I don't think you do, but there you get like really good moments out of those interactions in 1. Like the guy who's like basically forced to fight so his nation can be sovereign again. And then like we talked about it I think a couple of weeks ago, the one commander where like you found his man and he was like wounded and died,
Right.
and then you tell him like, yeah, we buried him, and he's like, thank you for that. Like tomorrow we're gonna meet on the battlefield and we'll be enemies, but today like we're both just soldiers and that's fine. Like and, like you know, that was a really good moment.
Yes.
And I think like Sylvaria has relatively good moments. She gets kind of used a bit as a tool a little bit too much, but that's kind of like her story in that game. So, and obviously, it gets real dumb at the end with Maximilian himself. But like to have kind of like a face of the enemy, I appreciated. In 4, they kind of go. They go for they're doing something with it, but they're doing just like a different thing, you know, like they're kind of they're kind of representing the citizenry of the empire and like the people on the ground versus like the people up top. And to be fair, like it's very much like there aren't like cuts to the enemy's perspective like there were in 1. It's very much like your team and your side and like what you think and how the Federation feels about it. And you don't really know what's going on with the leadership on the other side. And maybe they'll pay dividends with that, maybe not. I just like it is lacking those moments of kind of sportsmanship and camaraderie between the two sides, which I appreciated. Again, very minor gripe in the grand scheme of things, but I did want to mention it. 1 is very good though.
Oh yeah, 1 is still great. And like other than that, like I did the Nintendo Online service.
Me too, man. Bought in
and
that. I bought that 1 year, $20.
Yeah, and it's pretty much what you would expect. You see a bunch of NES games, you'd be like, okay, cool. And it's like try a little bit out, try like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It's like, okay, this works. This is functional.
Exactly what I did.
And,
and I'll
and then you
never
just
play
turn it off.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was one of those things like I played like halfway through the first dungeon in Zelda 1. I'm like, all right. I you know, it's a slick UI. You know, I
it is. I'm actually surprised how slick that is.
Yeah.
Like you tap on a game and it immediately starts. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fast, it's snappy, like everything on Switch except for the eShop. And it's like a good user experience, like I'll say, you know, for like I went and played an online match of Splatoon afterwards and like continued to be smooth as hell. Like I've never had a problem online with Splatoon. Still didn't. So like I wasn't necessarily surprised by that, but I got wrecked. The hardest I think I've ever been destroyed in a game of Splatoon, but I shouldn't be surprised. So yeah, it's like easy to make save states. You get up to 4 save states for each game, or suspend states or whatever. Yeah, it is well put together, I'll say. Can't say much more than that. What did you think of that video? Their little adorable Mario Brothers video that they put out for that.
It was fine. A good way to present it, but it also, you know, it's a thing. It's like, oh man, like your Switch can be destroyed any moment now. So like, I hope you like cloud saves, so now we can have you pay for them. And then it's like, oh yeah, but we can't have every cloud game save on the cloud. So
yeah, it has to support it. So
yeah, so you know, it's silly, but it's Nintendo. So
yeah, I don't think they botched it as bad as some people think they did.
I don't think they botched it. It's more of like it's pretty much to say it in like I almost like a dismissive way, but like you get what you pay for. Like it's like if it was $60, like I would expect the same thing more or less from Nintendo as far as like the quality and like you know what I mean. Like it's like people want it to be Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, and it's like it's not going to be that. So like I think they realize they can't be that, so that's why it's like cheap. So it's like, why the fuck not type of thing. And like and I don't know, it's like for me, my mindset in 2018 where I just like I want to support things that I like content, and you know, like this is like the most real way, other than buying their games, obviously, to like keep supporting something. So that's just my mindset of it.
Yeah, I like, what I was gonna say was like, it's not as like universal as I would say like a PSN cloud saves or whatever the equivalent is. But it's slick, it works, it feels good, and it's $40 cheaper. So, like I can't really complain. I'm like, I'm relatively satisfied with it. It's one of those things where I'm like playing these NES games. I'm like, man, if there were Super Nintendo games on this, it would just be so much more invaluable, I feel. And I was texting a friend of the show, Brent Range, about it, and he's like, they'll come, and I'm sure they will with time. It's just a matter of like the idea of like being able to pick up and play like Kirby Superstar, like online co-op, a very fun, simple SNES game, anytime on the go is like really, really cool. The idea of being able to pick up and play like the original Mario Brothers online co-op anytime is like fine. Like I'm good. But I don't have as much reverence for original NES games as like Brant does, and he's like super into it. So whatever. Anything else you've been playing, Namashin?
Nothing worth talking about. That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to talk about the elephant in the room, or you just not want to talk about it?
I'm good.
Okay. Then let's take a break. When we come back, we got some news to talk about, and then we'll answer some questions. We got a voicemail, we got some tweets, and we'll throw it out. We'll make some bets too. Don't forget. And we'll throw it out. So I will be back, or we will be back. Jeez, sorry, I'm off my game tonight. Yeah, it's Saturday, so they're messing me up. We will be back in just a little bit.
Choo choo choo. Why is that?
You'll see.
Okay.
Here's a little. We're up again. Let's do a little mid-show bonus content. What did you think about Spider-Man 3? I have not seen it. I didn't rewatch it, so
Yeah. It's a good movie to like watch again, just to push it in perspective. Actually, a terrible fucking dog shit movie, and like like something falling from grace for being so good. Like you see Spider-Man 1 again, which is like is not good at all, but like you can appreciate for what it is. You can see Spider-Man 2, but it just has problems and like just shot really weird just for the timing, but like for the time is really good. And there's two perfect moments in that movie for me, at least. It's like the train scene and like the very end of the movie. I think are like just like perfection in my eyes, at least. And then like you see Spider-Man 3 and it's like, holy shit, like what the fuck happened?
So like did you watch all of the Raimi trilogy over again?
Yes.
How did you feel about it overall? Going back.
So like I rewatched Spider-Man, or I watched up to like part of Spider-Man 1 maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and like I was dreading rewatching the first movie again because I think, oh man, this movie's like utter dog shit. Like I just didn't think it held up at all. Actually rewatching the entire thing again, it was better than I expected, and like I actually did like it. But like, you know, it's still not that great, and it's so comic booky that like it's insane because you know, like it has like moments where like Batman or Spider-Man like messes up Green Goblin's like glider, and he has to like go away, and like he like his glider just like messes up, he like blows away in the background. I was like, we'll meet again, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it has
I was
moments
looking
like
up
that.
some scenes while I was listening to Kind of Funny Guys, and I'm like, fuck man, this movie so weird by modern standards.
Yeah, but like there's a like for it, but like you know, it just takes a while for it to actually like pick up, I would say. Spider-Man 2, I saw immediately after I saw Homecoming. And like
okay,
I rewatched it again.
So it's not been that
and
long.
Like, yeah, it's been about over a year. And like after watching Homecoming and watching that movie, I think, oh man, like this is so good. This is so good. Like I still think Homecoming is a better movie. I even said that back at the time, but like this is like right up there with it. And that was because like you know, I had my issues with Homecoming, but like rewatching Homecoming again like recently for the MCU, like I appreciated it a hell of a lot more.
Cool.
And like Homecoming, and like rewatching Spider-Man, I appreciate that a lot less because of like it's like I said, it's the inverse of like Homecoming, where it's like Homecoming you're jazzed to be Spider-Man, and like don't necessarily have, like you know, like I'm fucking Spider-Man, yeah, it's great. And like Spider-Man 2 is like the extreme of the other end of like, man, I'm fucking Spider-Man, it sucks, my life sucks, I can't get anything to work out right, and it's just like all like that, and like, and there are real problems too, but like, you know, it's like it's too extreme. It's like there's stuff that you could just say something and like do something about, but like you're just choosing to be mopey and stuff like that, and it's like that doesn't work.
And then 3.
And then three starts out amazing because it's like all those problems from Spider-Man 2 that he had to go through. Right? It's like he's like, no, fuck it, whatever. Like it's like I figured it out, and it's like like he's like living in Cloud 9. And no joke, like probably like, oh my god, dude, like there's so much I want to say because like I was watching it with my best friend Tony, and like we were watching the movie. And like there was like a point where he's like, oh God, I gotta go pick my daughter or whatever. It was some reason or whatever. And like we were at the scene where like they were talking to the police chief about like Sandman, like telling Peter Parker and Aunt May about like Sandman killing Uncle Ben. So this is where they find this is the big reveal for this movie. And like we paused the movie so we could do this thing. It was like I kid you not, man. It was 1 hour into the movie. So like, and we're like, how long is this movie? And it's like, it's 2 hours and 14 minutes. It's like, fuck, okay. And so like when we went back to rewatch the movie, like, so the next pivotal scene, I would say like like the next scene, like because it's crazy, dude. Like in a span of like almost a little over 30 minutes, they established Sandman killed Uncle Ben. They established the symbiote like taking over Peter. They established Harry getting his memories back from amnesia. They established like the whole emo Peter Parker thing, and him hitting Mary Jane, and like 40 minutes into like after that, it was like him on the bell tower taking off the Venom suit. So like it was 40 minutes.
The 40-minute Venom suit. Arc.
Yeah, they pushed all that in 40 minutes, and then like Venom was like literally in the movie for like I think it was like a total of like
15 minutes, right?
Like 15 minutes or something like that.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's so crazy. And like he was saying me in the movie, and he never even said the word Venom in that movie. It's like so much stuff, dude. It's crazy watching that movie again. And we were just freaking out just looking at this movie because like, what is this? And it's insane. It was a good rewatch to like put stuff in perspective, and it's like, oh fuck, like I've been shitting on like Justice League for like it's like that movie is like miles better than this fucking movie. Like my god, and it's like it's a matter of just putting shit in perspective.
Now,
like,
what's worse though? I am curious, like Suicide Squad or Spider-Man 3. Is that like a real contention?
It's Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
It's not even a contest. Like I'll be interested to hear them what they say like when they do see Suicide Squad again. But like I didn't hate Suicide Squad. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it when I watched it. So like, because it was like you know, had Will Smith in it, so he's charismatic and stuff like that. So you had characters that you liked. It's just the story was just nonsense, and he didn't. That didn't make sense. Yeah, and it had Billy dancing and all the other shit. It's weird.
That's awesome.
And Amazing Spider-Man is better than Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just like, you know, we were texting about it for viewers' reference, and it's just a thing of like settling in to remember or to watch the Kind of Funny review, which I'm almost done with. I almost finished on my lunch break. It was just a thing of like, wow, I don't remember anything about this movie. Like, I saw that movie, I believe, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I saw that movie once ever in theaters with Scott.
Yeah.
So 2012.
Yeah, and I think Scott and I went and saw the second one as well.
No.
Okay. I know we saw the first Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, we walked out of it like, this was good. Like, I enjoyed this. But fuck, do I not remember anything about it. At all.
Yeah, the second one's where they really botched it.
Oh, yeah, dude. Are you going to watch the second one as well?
Oh, I have to.
I'm so
like I said, that was the first time I've ever watched Amazing Spider-Man, because like I never watched those movies because like I just didn't feel the need to, and like watching it, it's like, oh, this isn't terrible, and just like you telling me on the movie that like when you watch it, you're gonna love the Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker stuff, and like you're totally right. I fucking love that shit.
And also like Emma Stone is just amazing.
Oh, she made that fucking movie. Like if she wasn't there,
good.
God,
yeah.
But
I forgot about Bryce Dallas Howard as Gwen Stacy was the thing. And I'm like looking up pictures of her and like watching standalone scenes from Spider-Man 3. I'm like, fuck. Like it's crazy to think like this iteration of Gwen Stacy and then Emma Stone's were like 5 years apart. Like it's barely anything really. Like,
and that like a night and day character too. Like Gwen. Yeah. Is just like
she's like super smart and like funny and just charming in every single way. And it's and
you compare it to 3 where she's like literally nothing. Like she's like had
and
no
then
whatsoever.
Disappears, just vanishes. Oh,
if you didn't know that Gwen Stacy was a thing, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, "Who is this person?" Which was what I was when I watched that movie in 2007. I was like, "Who the fuck is this blonde woman?" So like when they brought up like, "Yeah, Gwen Stacy's in this movie," I'm like, "Fuck, like that's Gwen Stacy?" Yeah, fuck. Yeah, it's been so fun to listen to them go back through that. Like,
oh yeah, dude.
I'm very excited for where Spider-Man 2 lands.
Yeah,
Amazing
honestly,
Spider-Man
like,
2.
cause like it's been, the movie came out like that was like guess the Batman v Superman of that time, where it was just like people just fucking hated that movie, and like I never seen it myself, so I don't necessarily understand why. Like I mean I got the osmosis of why, but like I haven't seen it for myself why.
It's one of those things though that like the reason that movie is like very bad in my opinion is not like obvious. It's not like there's some like Jamie Foxx's Electro is very questionable throughout that whole movie, but like there are good moments and it's still got the Gwen Peter chemistry and it's like it's modernly shot and it like the CG is good and like the action's good. But the things that make that movie like very bad and that have like sunk into me in my very being over time are not like first glance obvious in my opinion.
Right.
I think it's something like once you just really just sit down and think about like the front to back story of that movie, you're like, wait a second. So I'm curious where you're at with it, and I'm curious where the kind of funny guys are at with it.
For sure.
Let's get into some bullshit. Some gosh dang bullshit. Listen to this is a Game Chops album while I pull up the news music called Zelda and Chill. It's like a hip hop beats mixed with Zelda music album. It's very good. I recommend it to all of you guys. I think you would really like it too, Tony. Especially. News in gaming. Let's talk about some news. Tony, what do you got? What news you got?
So there's this cool game being shown off at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah. What's it called?
I'm looking up the thing right now because I don't want to say it wrong.
Is it Judge Eyes? Because Namish and I haven't talked about Judge Eyes.
No.
How fucking hype are you for Judge Eyes, Namish?
Yeah, dude. Like, it looks fucking great.
It looks so good. I was like, I watched that trailer. I have no idea what's happening. And I like watched the Easy Allies watch along with the lady that's trying to like translate in real time. I'm like, this is bad, but like this game looks fucking great. So intense. What's it called, Tony?
Hold on.
Damn. I was buying time for you and everything.
I know.
Let me, in the meantime, can I get a hype check?
4.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, I'm there, dude.
Yeah, dude. I like that's all you need to say. I'm there. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I know Scott's like blackout. I'm not going to talk about like the latest trailer or anything, but I was like watching that and I'm like, whew, I'm getting the cold sweats. Fuck. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I sent the link when he just got announced. I was like, oh fuck yes.
Yeah, dude. I am excited. What's it called, Tony?
It's called Nirvana.
Yeah.
1RV and -A.
Oh yeah, you tweeted me about this.
And I wanted to tweet you and Navashin, but that was not possible.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the sequel to Valhalla.
Is it like same universe, different characters?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
Different town, more upscale town.
More upscale.
Yeah.
I'm pretty interested, as you know. What's is it like bartender? Is it cyberpunk bartender action?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, you're playing a different bartender in a different city, who is supporting her partner and her son, and kind of the same kind of game stuff goes into it. It's the same type of game as the first one, but just more of it, and that's rad.
That is rad. I know you guys both really like it. I'm sorry, I have not played it yet, but
you still should.
I still should. I still want to.
Yeah,
it's
coming out on Switch.
It's coming on Switch thing. So it's one of those things like if I missed it, like this is the time to get it. That's cool, man. I'm glad that they get to do another thing like that too.
Yeah, I'm glad that it ended up being successful enough for them to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it definitely seems like a thing that like it really, really jived with a lot of people, and the people that it jived with, like you guys, like they really liked it. So, I like the idea of them doing like multiple bartender games.
Yeah.
Like this weird bartender gaming universe. So, cool. I'm in. Do we know anything about when it's coming out at all?
2020.
2020.
Okay, so we got some time. I got some time to catch up. Cool. Trying to think. Was there anything else announced at TGS, Nabishin, that I might have forgotten?
Of importance?
Yeah. Anything jump out to you?
There was that IP that kind of like Dark Souls, and like
Oh yeah,
Monster
the
Hunter mixed together.
project game. I don't remember what it's called. It looked cool, but
I mean, like all the stuff I was excited about are pretty much pre-established stuff, like Resident Evil and like Kingdom Hearts and Devil May Cry. So
yeah. Release date got announced for Tetris Effect, which is the dope, trippy Tetris game coming to PS4 and PSVR this year. It's coming out November 9th, which is the day before Extra Life. So I know what I'm doing on Extra Life the whole time. I'm just kidding. But that game looks great. What's cool is we like re-put out like my preview of that game that I put out with like a little video clip that George put together on Twitter, and Tetsuya Mitsuguchi liked it, which I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. So maybe he saw that and I can feel special. But yeah, that's something to be excited about. This is a weird bit of news. Before we get to like the depressing, sad news, I figure we'll leave that for the end. The PlayStation Classic Mini was announced, or just the PlayStation Classic, which is what you think it is. It is a very small, miniaturized PlayStation 1 that is preloaded with 25 games, or 20 games. I thought it was 25. I don't know why I wrote that in the doc. Apologies. 20, and what the word Sony is using are generation-defining games. What's weird for me about this is that like they're using kind of like at least written out branding as Nintendo for their Classic series. There was the NES Classic and the Super NES Classic, and they're just straight up calling this the PlayStation Classic, as opposed to like the PlayStation Mini or PlayStation Throwback or something like that. I guess, it works. It gets the point across. I just thought that was weird. It's coming out in December, I think December 3rd. And they've only announced 5 of the games that are on it, which is odd, as opposed to Nintendo, which when they announced the SNES and NES one, they just dumped the whole list out there. And I just want to get kind of like your guys' thoughts on this, and also like maybe speculate as to what you think would have to be on this. But the 5 games announced so far are Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash. I don't even know what Jumping Flash is. Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms.
Jumping Flash is like a first-person jumping game, more or less, for the PlayStation.
Which I think all of those are like pretty quintessential picks, especially like Wild Arms and Final Fantasy VII. Tekken 3 is obviously huge. We'll get to kind of like the part of this at the end, but I'm just curious what you guys what is like an essential PlayStation 1 title that has to be on this?
Realistically, or
I would say like give me one that's like realistic that you think that, or like what do you think should have to be there for sure, and then maybe one that would probably be there realistically. Tony, what you got?
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Ooh, yeah,
pick.
that's a good one. I'm like wondering like how many Final Fantasy games can you put on this?
Yeah. That would be like the one for me though. You don't have to put 7 on there. No one cares.
Yeah, nobody cared. It's not like a huge game or anything. Realistically, do you think that would make it, Tony?
I want to hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The original one, I would imagine, would.
Yeah.
Because they made, I want to say, 3
tactics games,
spin-off.
right?
No, they like spin-off series.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what the other one was, but
Tactics Ogre.
No, that's like
there's the branch that has Ogre in it, and then there's the Advanced series,
yeah.
which are totally different things.
But like, I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics is a pretty good one.
Yeah,
But it's not my choice.
I think like that's a pretty essential like big PS1 game though. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. The one that like I would need to have on that is Mega Man Legends 2.
Hell yeah, my guy
Has to be there.
has to be there. Agreed, strong agree. Or at least Legends 1.
No,
Two
Legends
is a better
2,
game.
The best Mega Man
The
game.
best Mega Man game. Strong agree. Completely agree. But I feel like they would probably opt for 1, but they should put 2 on there. You're right. Has to be there. Nabashin.
Like it all depends on like because like the game that should be on there is Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
But like the only way that will affect of that is if you have a controller for rumble feature.
Yeah, true. Because it comes with the original PlayStation controller.
Yes. So like I'm assuming like if you can like because there's it's just a USB connector for those PlayStation controllers. So like possibly you can hook up a DualShock 4 maybe and just play Metal Gear like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Or even just like a DualShock 3. That's probably game on that if I got one of those things. Yeah, that's the main one.
Yeah.
I think that's not necessarily given because, like I said, if you don't have Rumble, then like you not missing half the game is because it's just a moment in that part.
That's
like
a big moment,
even,
you know.
Yeah, it's a big moment, but it's like because like the big moments is like the Rumble and the memory card thing, and like I don't know if you have that either on that.
Mm-hmm. Feasibly, like the memory card thing could reference other games on there. But
it's only other Konami games.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, one I would say would be like Symphony of the Night. Like, it'd be hard sell for this without Symphony of the Night, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Scott, what about you? What's like a essential PS1 game for you?
I was not a PS1 guy.
Yeah.
So
do you not have one off the top of your head?
I just don't have one.
That's fair. What were we gonna say? Nabashin is like the realistic pick for it.
Like probably the real realistic one would be like Twisted Metal 2.
Yeah. You know, Sony first party, easy. I mean, like, obviously, like Crash Bandicoot is like, it's weird to think like a PlayStation classic without at least the first Crash Bandicoot, which I know is like, you know, the worst one by all means, but
yeah, when you put like at least 2 on there, but like I mean Crash Bandicoot 2, but like would it be weird just to have 2 and not 1 on there? But I guess they did that with it. NES Classic with Mega Man 2, so I don't know.
I think like there's room for that. I think that could, for example, work with Mega Man Legends. Yeah, and then like Spyro, I think is like really essential. Like all the kind of characters from the PlayStation era are really part of that era.
You know, Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, that is like totally one of them that should be there.
I just wonder about the licensing as far as the music.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think that's a PlayStation 1 classic for on PS3 or PSP or Vita.
3 is, right?
I don't remember.
I feel like one of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games is. But then there's also like, do you like waste the spot with Croc? Which I know some people are going to like defend Croc to the day they die, but like Croc is a horrible video game. And it's, yeah, I don't know like what. But that's also like he was a pretty big character at the time. Like in the
like how many platformers would you put on it? It's like the demographic is like when I think PS1, I think RPGs, or JRPGs I should say. And
shit like The Legend of Dragoon, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like God, like because like I was never really PlayStation person either. PlayStation 1 person. Like when I had my PS1, literally all I played was Mega Man X4. Mega Man X4 and Mega Man
X1. I played a ton of shit on my PS1, dude.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah, and that's fair. Like I would say, and like I think that's good. I feel like Wild Arms and Final Fantasy VII kind of round that out.
But would that be the only RPGs you don't want to put like Suikoden 2 or Xenogears or like there's so
Chrono
many
Cross.
JRPGs.
Chrono Cross, yeah. I don't know. Another one, like two for me that like would be essential to the PS1 because I love them would be like Tomba and Alundra, but I don't see either of those making it either.
Alundra would be a good one.
I feel like Alundra would be a really good one because I feel like that's like the what was the one on the NES Classic? Star Tropics. That'd be like the Star Tropics pick that like some people played and really liked, and it's got very well received critically. But like maybe not a lot of people have heard of, and I think Alundra is totally that game. So yeah, I don't know. So the shitty part about this that I kind of left for the end is it's $100, which is a lot. I feel like the SNES Classic, which was 21 SNES games, was $80 with 2 controllers, and the NES Classic was $60. So I see like the kind of escalation that they took when considering this. But like that, and they've only announced 5 games versus the rest. Shout out to Nobshin's cats. But I thought Gus was near me for a second there. I was freaking out.
He's here.
He's here. But yeah, so I mean, really, like whether or not I can hit that $100 mark for me, because I love the PS1, and I, much like the SNES, I would like to have just like the kind of it as a collectible and as a functional thing. I would totally do the same for the PS1, but it's got to earn its keep if it's going to be $100, you know? It's a little steep. I feel like 80 would be a very good sweet spot for this.
Like the part of the, like the thing about it is like, this is just one of those things. Like, you know, you see like the NES and the Classic, and you're like, yeah, sure, it's not online because it's Nintendo, and like Nintendo's are selling the things that are like the best games ever. So like, you can see what they're going for, and like you can see their picks. So like, it's fine. But like PS1 is like just so diverse as far as like
There's
what
so
people,
much good shit there.
Yeah,
and what people generally like from that system. And like 20 games isn't enough, I feel, weirdly enough, to say that.
Yeah.
But like it feels like this should connect to like PSN and just like get those PlayStation 1 classics that's on PSN right now. It feels like it should, but like it won't.
I bet you Fat Princess is on that machine.
Which was a PlayStation 3 game.
It's gonna be on there, dude.
It'll be on there. But here's the thing, like watching that trailer, because they just basically dropped a trailer on the PlayStation blog to announce this. I feel like they kind of alluded to that, Nabishin. I don't know if you watched it too, but it says like starts with, or it uses some like phrasing that implies that maybe more games will be downloadable for this thing in the future.
You would think, because that's the smart thing to do, but like you get to the point where it's like you should do that, but like, will you do that? And it's just like,
yeah, will you do that? But also, like, what would you charge for that? You know, like, how much is it? Like $5 a game or $10 a game? I already paid $100 for this. Like, that's weird. That'd be kind of shitty. If you were to build your dream PS2 classic, this is the tough one. What's your top 3 that have to be there?
PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 2 classic. I'm just curious. I'm thinking about it.
That's the toughie.
Yeah.
Mostly because like I already had them remastered of all the good ones.
True.
Like they didn't really get remastered. It's just like Beautiful Joe, even though I played that on the GameCube. I don't know. Like I would have to take some time to think about it.
Yeah, for me it'd be like I would want to put like Final Fantasy X, Kingdom Hearts 1 on there, obviously, but like, but like Beautiful Joe's a good one.
You play on your PS4 right now.
I know, and Lord knows I will. But like Beautiful Joe's a good one. Tales of the Abyss would be a big one for me. and maybe like Sly Cooper. We want maybe Sly 2. Sly 2 would probably make the most sense. Obviously, like Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter. There's a lot of PS2 classic would be
I'm
tough.
just trying to think of the ones that didn't
Blow
make
up.
it.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
get remastered. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
tough. Like Dark Cloud. You know, I know that's like a PS2 classic on PS4, but
Uh-huh.
big game, obviously. Well regarded. Level 5. And, you know, they did like Ni no Kuni and whatnot. Persona 4 and Persona 3 Fez would be probably pretty good.
Oh, probably the one.
Persona 3 Fez probably over 4 just because it has Golden, which most would consider the definitive edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The PS2 classic would be very hard to build. Because you got to cut something, and like I wouldn't want to cut anything from that.
And just like I said with the PlayStation 1, it's like 20 games would not be enough or something like that because it's so diverse.
Yeah, such
Like
a rich
like
library.
people will want like NFL 2K5 or stuff like that just because of that version being like the $20 one, and that was the one that like, you know, like I'm just saying that as an example, weird example, but like people love that game for various reasons. So like, you know, there's so much to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious what the last 15 games are. I just want to bring it up because I thought it was interesting that y'all had very good suggestions. And yeah, I'm a little hung up on the price. We'll see. The bad
Hey, man.
news.
It's justified if Mega Man Legends 2 is on the box.
Agreed. Moving on.
Yeah, we don't need to say that. It just goes without saying.
Yeah, it should go without saying. Mega Man Legends 2 or bust. We'll look forward to the Tony and Alex Mega Man Legends 2 Let's Play series.
Yeah.
So the bad news that came out yesterday is Friday that Telltale Games is closing. Yeah. Majority studio closure. They're completely shutting down. For folks who don't know, which I'd be amazed if you didn't, Telltale Games has put on tons of series of adventure games, not just something like Telltale's The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us, but also like Sam and Max and Strong Bad, the Strong Bad adventure game series. Very well known for episodic game series, essentially bringing adventure games into the modern era, and just doing a lot of things at once and putting out a lot of games at once. We've talked about many of their games here on the show in the last 8 years. And it's a huge bummer because I think, like, one, Telltale Games is a huge studio. About 250 people are losing their jobs, a little over, I believe, which sucks. Worst part about that, essentially over the last 8 to 10 months, it sounds like over the last year, they have been crunching very hard, not being paid overtime, and none of the employees will be receiving severance pay because Telltale is filing for bankruptcy. And on top of that, all of their upcoming projects have been canceled. So Wolf Among Us Season 2, which was expected to release next year, canceled. Stranger Things. Sorry, I don't know why I got those confused. But Stranger Things season of episodic content also planned for next year is canceled. And The Walking Dead, the final season, which is currently ongoing, will be canceled after episode 2, which releases next week. So that was originally a 4-episode season. The last 2 episodes will not be coming out, which is awful. It sucks just all around, mostly for the people that worked there. And yeah, it's brought up a lot of conversations. Telltale for me is like hugely influential because I liked like point and click adventure games growing up, and they were the ones that really made the more modern format of the game and things that kind of took that and ran with it, like Life is Strange, which obviously Nabish and I really like and is very successful. Like that wouldn't exist without Telltale, I don't think. And
most definitely not.
And like episodic gaming would not be as popular as it is and as cool as it is without Telltale. They've done great stuff. Like regardless of what I would say about like the level of polish that their games have, and obviously the we talk a lot about like the engine problems that they had, that they seem to finally be figuring out with Walking Dead the final season, which is a huge bummer. Like the stories they told, the way they respected and treated like all the licensing opportunities that they had. Like they did so many different things with so many different licenses from Guardians.
Didn't they at one point just say like, we have every license?
At some point it feels like it. Like they went from Batman to Guardians of the Galaxy to The Walking Dead to Strong Bad to Jurassic Park to Back to the Future. Like literally every major like license that you could imagine as like an episodic story, I feel like they touched base with.
Yeah.
They did like they made a really cool Borderlands game, story-based Borderlands game, which like I think I was thinking back today when I was pulling the story of like that finger gun scene from Tales from the Borderlands episode 4 that we all had to stop and watch during one of our Game of the Year podcast episodes to talk about, because like I was like, you guys have to fucking see this. Like they did such cool shit throughout their history. Like, and I know like you weren't as in love with like Batman, but we had like really great conversations about the Telltale Batman series and how they took that in such a cool direction. It's a huge bummer, and like the stories they told were so cool, and like I said, the amount of respect they had for the licenses they had was really great. So to see like that studio just doesn't exist anymore is really, really upsetting. But yeah, basically to clarify, 25 people are remaining for quote unquote the foreseeable future to finish anything like or to fulfill any obligations to the board of directors and like any partners. And like Netflix came out today and said like they're looking now for a new developer for a Stranger Things series, a video game series. So yeah, my Siri turned on my phone for whatever reason today. So like it's safe to say that it doesn't look like they're probably developing any games right now. So that's why I say they're effectively closed, and out of the game. But yeah, like, you know, it's a bummer, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit more, but it's one of those things that hearing all this stuff that happened to Visceral Games, the makers of Dead Space, and how they shut down. Is that this year or last year? I don't actually remember. It might have been this year. Shit.
I think it was this year.
Holy crap. Hearing how they shut down and their Star Wars project was canceled, and like hearing the real story behind that about how like expensive San Francisco based video game development is, I think definitely lends itself to this story as well, because they were based out of San Francisco as well, and the Bay Area. And it's just like cost of living, so which translates to how much they had to pay their employees, which translates to 250 plus employees, like was wildly expensive. And I know like things were just not going well for them for a while now. So yeah, any thoughts? Anything anybody wants to add?
There's nothing really to it. This is a shame.
It's a huge shame, but like, I am confident that the writers and the programmers there will definitely bounce back. Some incredible talent worked there. It's just, it sucks to hear like how hard they were crunching and how hard they were working, and then like to get dropped with basically no coverage, no severance. Most of them were contractors, so they can't file for unemployment. Like things like that is like really sucks.
And it makes me just like curious in a way of like bigger game companies that are not the quote unquote norm, I guess you could say, is like because like Telltale was big for what it was, for the type of games that came out, I guess you could say. Like, not really to insult them or like even to praise them for it. It's more just like just saying like it seemed like they were like bigger than what they kind of should be in a way. Like
they blew up in a very unexpected way, I think.
Yeah. And rightfully so. Like the Walking Dead season 1 was amazing, and like they deserve all that praise for that game.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I could see because we're in such a strange situation now, with video games now, it makes me think of like how much longer could a studio like Media Molecule last right now,
Yeah.
not to wish them will or ill or anything like that, and I'm pretty sure Sony is keeping them up until at least Dreams comes out. But what is after Dreams as far as that company, or then is there anything after that? It's because they think differently, they do their games differently. It's not this is not Spider-Man, this is not God of War. This is a different type of game, and Telltale's a company that pride themselves on story base, and and for the most part they were praised for that.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me just think about companies that do different things, and how do they stay in this day and age if they're not I guess made to be, or are distributed they kind of should be, NIS can survive the way they are because the way they distribute their games and the way they advertise their games, and it's not something that's going to break the bank, but if it doesn't sell too much, it's not the worst, but if it sells really really good, it's phenomenal for
It's
them.
a boon, yeah. It's weird because Media Molecule's in that kind of good and bad zone as of being a first party developer to Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Just Microsoft obviously announced all of its big acquisitions and new studios. It's Sony's shut down a lot of studios in the last 5 years, Avalanche,
Mm-hmm.
right? The guys that made MotorStorm, and Microsoft shut down Lionhead and things like that. So it is. EA obviously shuts down 3 studios a week, it feels like. So it's one of those things you could go under a big publisher and you get a little bit more security, but you're risking that, well, you didn't hit the bottom line, so now we're shutting you down conversation. And Telltale is independent for reference, for listener reference. So they were kind of out of that wiggle room, but they had the moment where they were developing The Walking Dead Season 2, Game of Thrones, The Wolf Among Us, and Tales from the Borderlands all at the same time. And it's you're getting The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, the 2 biggest television series in the world right now, especially in the US. Of course, and you're getting so much money from those license holders and from the first season of The Walking Dead and your ongoing seasons, of course, why won't you expand? Why wouldn't you want to do that and take on as many licenses as you can? And then you got to think that maybe the crunch, the way that they released episodes, the way that they kind of wrote them as they were going on and did the voice acting so that the way they could take in the player decisions and things like that into account, into their story. And the fact that how buggy all them ended up being, it feels like it was a snowball effect, and they crumpled under the weight of it. The one I'm worried about not wishing is Double Fine, because they are a San Francisco-based developer / publisher, and they publish a lot of really small things. They really right now are only working on 1, maybe 2 things. But it's just that location. They're independent. I feel
they're also a publisher as well.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And they're publishing mostly very little things. I saw their 4 upcoming very small things that they're working on at PAX West. And it's these are all really cool, and no one else is publishing stuff like this. And Double Fine as a label is really cool because it tells you there's a lot of heart and soul behind this. But obviously they've scaled back. They were doing 4 things at once at a time, but after Massive Chalice and Broken Age came out, they've kind of scaled down to okay, we're just working on Psychonauts 2 right now, and that's fine. But yeah, that's just one I would worry about. I feel Double Fine wouldn't have trouble getting bought out by a publisher though if they wanted to, if it came to that. I don't know if they would do that.
Is Fig still a thing?
Fig, it is still a thing.
It's not. I know it's still a thing, but it's not really something that gets brought up that often. But Kickstarter doesn't get brought up that often either. So I don't know if they're still getting projects constantly on Fig, I should say.
I don't know. The last thing that went on Fig was
Last notable thing I think was
Sweary's
Sweary's
game. Yeah.
Sweary's. God, Jesus, I can't speak today.
Which ended up getting funded through Kickstarter too. So I don't know. I pulled up fig.com right now. I tried to pull up fig.org and that's not a website. So my one guess is gone. Well, fig.com isn't loading, so I don't know. I can't answer your questions now. But that's all the news for this week. There's a little bit more trickle of TGS because we had like the pre-TGS thing, and I guess like did it start this weekend, like the real show, or did it start next week? I don't know.
I think it starts next week. I don't think. Yeah.
I feel like it hasn't started yet. I know a lot of people are tweeting about being there, but maybe it's just like press only days, which means like the show itself hasn't started. It's a great fucking Devil May Cry trailer came out at TGS. I don't know if you watched it, Nabishin, but
I did, and whew, anything else.
I'm not on Media Blackout on this one, so I'll give it a shot. Give it a look at soon.
yeah, Devil May Cry 5, the Dante trailer kind of unveiled Dante's gameplay in that game. The game looks good. It looks real good, yeah. Also, a great new Resident Evil 2 trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what's happening in that game, but it seems great. Let's take a peek in the mail sack. Do you guys want to hear a voicemail from our boy Jake Nichols first, or do you want to get some tweets first? What do you want?
Jake.
All right, you won, Jake. He sent the. There's no subject line in this. He just the text of the email that he sent with the voicemail attached was winky face in all caps. Not a drawn out winky face, but written winky face. It's a WAV file, so hopefully it'll actually load on my phone. Fingers crossed. Do 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 do. All right, cool. It loaded.
Good evening, IP gentlemen. It's Jake again. I wanted to ask a question relating to Spider-Man. So it seems like that game sold really well and everything like that, and a lot of people are saying, oh, they should, take other superhero licenses and do kind of the same thing. I don't know if that would work that well with. I think the reason why Spider-Man works so well is his locomotion and the way he's able to get around in the city and everything. But I thought maybe Iron Man would be cool if could fly around like that. That could be cool. So yeah, I wanted to ask what superhero you think would fit in that kind of open world mold. Yeah, I'm just wondering about that. Also, shout out to Carly Rae Jepsen, Queen of Pop. Thanks.
I'm fucking bless up for the queen, Carly Rae. Thank you, Jake. I love you, you sweet, beautiful boy. Coming off of Spider-Man, what superhero game would be good? I think he brings up a good point. Locomotion is like a big part of Marvel's Spider-Man, the Insomniac Spider-Man game. I think that's a big part of why that game did well. I think we were talking about in the bonus content. Fastest selling Sony first party game ever. 3.3 million units in the first 3 days. So did very well for itself.
Is the locomotion the reason why it did well, or is it because it's Spider-Man and Marvel's hot right now that it did well?
Honestly, I know it's weird, but I think it is a little bit of both.
I can see that, yeah. Because
I feel like the quote unquote the amount of times I heard swinging as part of the conversation around fucking Spider-Man, zipping, is a lot. So I feel like I don't know. Jake didn't necessarily say like what game should Insomniac make next. I think Insomniac's definitely gonna make another fucking Spider-Man game. Probably gonna make a lot more Spider-Man games. But I don't know, like, what do you guys think? What would be like a good coming off of that and how they approach that character? What would be like a good superhero game? I know you have a different opinion. You have a quote unquote opinion that doesn't matter according to you on Spider-Man Nabishin, but what else? What other character would you want to see approached like that?
I mean, it's weird because like we've had a bunch of games like that before. We had Iron Man on Xbox 360 and like Apparently, people like the flying in that game, but like everything else around that game wasn't that great. We had Hulk Ultimate Destruction was a good game. That would probably play out the most. That, but like a game like that wouldn't sell amazingly though, just because of the type of game it would have to be, which is like just a beat 'em up type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Let me tell you this, not wishing though. I don't know. Did you play Hulk Ultimate Destruction?
I did. I liked it. Or I played the demo like a million times.
Okay.
And I loved it.
I played that whole game front to back. It is a very good game. I think it's like, swim in sevens type thing, not necessarily blowing anybody's caps off. But you can do this thing in that game where you pick up a car, rip it in half, and smash it together, and then you have two gauntlets made out of two halves of a car. And that game might be the best video game. 7 out of 10, the best score anyone can ever see. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I feel like you could do a Hulk game today, and if just like the thing about Spider-Man is that like once somebody does it right, it paves the way for other people to do it. Like I think Spider-Man exists, and we talked about this in our episode of our video game book club, which you can watch on youtube.com/irrationalpassions. I think Batman Arkham Asylum and the Arkham series did pave the way for something like Spider-Man to exist, even if they aren't like one-to-one comparable mechanically. And it just showed that, okay, we can do a solo superhero story either in an open world or not well, and here's how we do it. So like whether or not like it was the number one influence for Spider-Man, maybe not, but I think it showed that you could do it. So I think Spider-Man might inspire confidence to do more stuff. I don't know. It's the thing of like, so Square Enix, Eidos Montreal has like the Avengers game that they're working on, and I think like that's whatever, that could turn out to be good or not. It's like that. I feel like this paves the way for like that one hero game to be really good. I think like it would have to be like something that can be open world, something that can be kind of open-ended and loose and fun and jolly, for lack of a better word. And I think Spider-Man just fits that mold so well. Tony, what about you? Do you have like a superhero game that you would want to see tackled now?
I don't know, man. Superheroes not really my thing.
I know. What about a Doctor Strange game?
I don't think a game of Doctor Strange would be very fun.
I think it could be cool. Do some wizard shit. Make some circles.
Yeah. Put one hand out, use the other one to make a circle, walk through it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Got to the end of the game.
Yeah, cheat to the end of the game. It's the speedrunning glitch for the Doctor Strange game. What about you, Scott? I know you like superheroes quite a bit.
It's gonna be the same one that I always say.
What would you say?
You gotta kick yourself for not just saying it, but a Flash one. At this point, I don't care if it's good. At this point, it's so far removed that I'm very curious to see what someone's gonna come up with.
Like, here's my thing though, because I was thinking about this too, Scott. I feel like Insomniac, after what they did with Spider-Man, they could fucking do a Flash game, and they could make it really good. It's a similar thing of locomotion, and like I kind of described earlier, open world, kind of more jolly, lighthearted. Getting around is fun, like making traversal really fun, I think would be a big part of a Flash game. Yeah, dude, I'm with you. I don't care if it's good, just make it.
But I mean, come on, how long have I been saying that?
It's true. You've been tooting the Flash horn. I feel like the way is clear for someone to make a dope Flash game. I'm with you, man. I'm trying to think one for me. Yeah, I can't think of like one better than the Flash, at least, like or something more like from my own goddamn brain. I feel like I'm trying to think of like other open world style games. Like, could you take like the format of the Phantom Pain, for example, and like take that idea and apply it to like a superhero game? Like, I don't know. Maybe you could. Maybe you could make
Punisher
like
game.
yeah, Punisher game like that, or like I'm thinking of like more on the stealth end of things, like maybe I know they
Blade game.
not a Blade game actually, hard out on that one. Got a veto on the Blade game. I think like maybe like a Constantine game that's like very stealthy, that's investigative, maybe like an adventure style game, would be cool. And it'd be like a niche thing. Maybe it wouldn't like sell super well, but I think like there are so many different formats of games that you could pull for that. Like imagine something in the style of The Wolf Among Us that was a Constantine game. I think that would be fucking rad. I don't know. Not an Arrow game. I've got enough of the Green Arrow from the Arrowverse.
Like the real answer anyway is just Danny Phantom. That's all.
Yeah, it's true. Make it fucking Danny Phantom game, you cowards. God,
Final boss, Box Ghost.
of course. OP. Let's get to the tweets. Remember, you can tweet your questions every week at IrrationalPod with hashtag IPQ. If you'd like to be a part of the show, we'll answer them on the show. We'll have fun. This wasn't a question, but I did want to share it with you guys because it was shared with me. When I was soliciting questions, Steven Santana at No8Axel, number 8 Axel, friend of the show, who's been on the show before, said, thanks for tweeting this in regards to my soliciting questions tweet, because it reminds me I killed you in my dream because you were sending dogs after me and I had to climb a tree that existed within your apartment to escape. And he put that in my world, and I had to put that into your guys' world.
What?
He had a dream where he had to kill me because I was sending dogs after him.
Is this Greg?
No, it's not.
Are you sure? It's not Greg in disguise?
Yeah, did Greg kill Steven and wear his skin? Tweet comes to us from Emmett Watkins Jr., EJ Sponge 61 on Twitter. Emmett, good guy, I would say. Very nice
Cool
boy.
dude.
Cool dude. Not as good as Blessing at rap, apparently, but, you know, everybody's got to try. Watch the throne. His question is, I'm sure there will be plenty of Telltale talk, so I want to ask, what's your favorite game that isn't special at all? Call it a guilty pleasure or whatever. What is the most bland game you enjoy? Came to mind because I'm enjoying my time with the free-to-play shooter Warface. That's a really good question. The most bland game that you enjoy. Do you have one, Nabishin? I know you like a lot of bland games, so I'm just kidding. So think.
Man, like, because like it's not a Dynasty Warriors game because I don't really enjoy those. Mostly, I should say, because I did enjoy Hyrule Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors is a good one. If Tony were to say mine, he would say Yoshi's Woolly World.
True.
I'm looking at my game collection, and that's what comes to mind. Quick aside, now how pissed are you that they're redoing Super Mario Bros. U and Super Luigi U on fucking Switch?
I'm not pissed. It was expected, but like, it's like it's more of like they had to put the app before they put out Mario Maker because it's like, why would you go to those games when you have Mario Maker? So
yeah, true.
I get that.
They gotta get the money. Tony, do you have a bland game that you enjoy?
League of Legends.
True. I feel like you've got a lot, Tony, honestly.
Wow, what is that? What do you mean?
I don't know. Well,
This guy just likes boring shit.
No, that's not what I meant. I just mean like you play
Bless Online.
the most bullshit game ever. I feel like BDO was that at some
These
point.
games, well, I mean, those games are bullshit. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, no. So that's kind of the thing. I tend to stay away from games that would specifically be bland.
Yeah.
Like I could never take a tycoon game.
Yeah.
I could never. When I got into Sims, it wasn't to play Sims; it was to kill a lot of people.
Fair.
I like a lot of those games that have like, you know, a simple gameplay loop and, you know, are those boring games, but I like to watch people play them.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite Twitch streamers, I basically only watch his like base building games and those kind of things, like Dwarf Fortress and those kind of games. I watch him play those, but
That's a
I
good
don't. I
pick,
wouldn't.
though.
I wouldn't play them. I just like to watch them.
Mhm. That's good. That's fair. I'm thinking. I honestly, cause I don't know. Maybe I'm just like biased, but I feel like
I'm so interesting.
yeah, no, all my babies.
I'm so fucking interested.
All my babies are interesting. That's where I'm at. Like all my sweet little children. My games are all great. Cause like he says like Warface. In a way, right now it's like Destiny, right? That's like my relationship with Destiny too. But I don't want to necessarily say that because I feel like there's spice there. The Tomb Raider games, is that a good answer?
I wouldn't say so.
Because I'm thinking of like
Hyrule Warriors is a very good answer.
Hyrule Warriors is.
It's
a very
like
good answer.
Dynasty Warriors is like a good answer.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, because I feel like
I mean, I guess if I enjoyed, what is it, Castle Crashers, that would be it.
yes,
But I never did.
that's another good answer. The Capcom beat 'em up bundle is a good answer.
That is a good answer.
Maybe for me it's oh shit, it's you know what it is? It's Fat Princess.
That game's so bad.
That game is like no, it's not bad. That game is like fine. Scott and I played a ton of Fat Princess together and had a great time, I'll have you know.
Yeah, that Princess was good while there were people there to play. Well, there's not a whole lot of people there to play.
No.
Sitting in a menu is very bland.
Yeah, it is like
But I mean, it's also kind of not fair.
it's like a samey kind of game by nature. I don't think it does much new necessarily, but I think it's fun. I really enjoy it. I think of the kind of samey games of that ilk, I think that's the one I've enjoyed the most. And he said, "What's your favorite game that isn't special at all?" I think that's totally that game. But yeah, that'll be my answer for now, unless I can think of a better one. This comes from Matt Wright at Shibs42 on Twitter. My co-host, we're doing they're like, Matt is the host of Three Best Friends podcast, one of the three hosts there. They're doing a limited run series, so they're basically a secondary series of podcasts where they're playing through all the Kingdom Hearts games, and I am the guest co-host for that whole series as their official lore reference guide for Kingdom Hearts lore. So yeah, we just the episode for Kingdom Hearts 2 just came out, so it's the third episode in the series of I think 6 total, but it's me, Matt, and Jake, and we did Kingdom Hearts 1 and then Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days and Chain of Memories, and then 2 was the third episode. So yeah, shout out to Matt, wonderful dude. He's probably gonna be on our like Kingdom Hearts hype cast when we do end up doing that. Just because him or Jake or both, just because we've bonded over our love of Kingdom Hearts. He says his question is: was Telltale better off as a developer handling a couple of licensed properties, or was this inevitable? I think we kind of touched on this.
It was better off on a couple of properties.
I think so.
I think what really drained them here is they had to dump too much resource. It was basically one team balancing too many games, with the biggest money sink being the actors.
I don't think it was the actors. I think it was honestly like the cost of living for where they were.
that's a good chunk of it, but it's not like each game itself had a different team. There are several different teams.
Well,
in
there
but it's
several teams within Telltale.
Right.
I think like for me, it is kind of what you're saying, Scott. Like I think if they had just kind of stuck to one or two things at once, and maybe they could have done the same games just over a longer period of time. It was just the fact that like they rapidly expanded to like 250 plus people in a very short amount of time, and they were doing like 4 games at once, and then like those games stopped selling well, and they kept on that many people, is what really sunk them. It's just like they expanded so much so quickly, and so I think if they had kind of kept things smaller and more intimate over time, they would have done them better. But like I said earlier, they were given an opportunity to work on some of the biggest licenses, biggest franchises out there at the time. Like I understand why they took that opportunity, why they wanted to expand, why they wanted to be like aggressively expanding, putting out all this stuff at once. It just backfired. You know, didn't work out. I don't know. Another question we got from Steven Talbert at Steven_Talbert was thoughts on Telltale going out of business. Favorite Telltale game? I know Tony and Scott, you guys didn't really play Telltale games, but Nabishin, what was your favorite Telltale story?
Like the only ones I got through was like Walking Dead season 1 and The Wolf Among Us. I think those are the only ones I beat.
Okay.
Like I have all the
You
Telltale
beat
Borderlands.
Batman season 1.
Oh, I did beat season.
Not your favorite.
No,
but
my favorite. Yeah, that's probably Walking Dead season 1, I would say.
yeah, I mean, Walking Dead season 1, loved it. My favorite, I vacillate a lot. I would say,
I forgot about the Sam & Max games.
Yeah, I only played the 3rd season of this, but I love that season.
I played the was the Devil's Playground, like that whole
That's
season.
The 3rd season.
That's the one that got me into Telltale in general.
Me too.
Really enough.
Yeah, because I like played the original Sam & Max with my brother as a kid, as like again one of those old school adventure games that I really liked. It was like that, and the Indiana Jones, and the Fate of Atlantis, and Day of the Tentacle, and Maniac Mansion. Like I played all this with my brother. So, like Sam & Max was like a big part of that, and it was kind of like my favorite of those because it was so goofy. So that was kind of like my entry point into Telltale. It still holds a special place in my heart. I would say, like, with time, Tales from the Borderlands might be my favorite. I typically would say The Wolf Among Us, but, like, looking back at how unique that game is and how fun it is and just how much they got me to kind of care about a thing. And you got Troy Baker and Laura Bailey, like, right at the top. I really like that game, but I don't know. I like I said, I go back and forth. Could be Wolf Among Us one day, could be Tales from the Borderlands another, could be Walking Dead season 1 another. I have just a poor taste in my mouth after season 2 of The Walking Dead, so it does hurt a little bit. Other news that we didn't talk about was this whole Tales of Vesperia remastered voice acting debacle that's going on that no one cares about but me and like 6 other people. But basically, it's a different voice actor for Troy Baker's character in the definitive edition. Apparently, Troy Baker is not even approached about doing the voice.
He's too expensive for them.
Yeah, I guess like they assumed that, but like him tweeting out that like, man, I really love this character and I would have loved to do this is like it's like reaffirming what I'd kind of hoped how he felt about the character, but also confirming my greatest fear of like, great, they just didn't even ask. How am I supposed to feel about this? But that was like, I kind of we think about like me playing that game again in the summer now. Remember I was talking about like the voice acting. I'm like, this is like the last time I get to play this version of this game. So it's still special to me. I fucking knew something like this was gonna happen, and it just sucks.
This might sound bad, but like is the voice at least the not the Troy Baker imitator, but like the guy that kind of sounds like Troy Baker, the guy who's the guy from Zilia?
Tales of Zilia, yeah, I know, I say it. Not Troy Baker, as I called him throughout the entire time we played the game.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's that guy.
Okay.
He's doing like that character. And like I said, there's a trailer basically out with the new actor in it. For Scott and Tony's reference, basically, the new scenes have new voiceover, but all the old scenes that haven't been changed or cut have the original voice acting in it. So it's gonna.
Oh no!
Basically, the second half of that game, where all of the new content is going to be a lot of going back and forth between Troy Baker, not Troy Baker, Troy Baker, not Troy Baker, which is like, man, fuck.
Oh no!
And I don't know, maybe they had him like redo the entire back half of the game just to make it sound a little bit more consistent. To be fair, like they did stuff like Persona 4 Golden has some like redub, like new lines done by different voice actors for like Namatame and stuff, but much less voice acting. It's weird. It is very weird. Anyway. Outside of my greatest nightmares. Let me see. I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone, for sending in questions. A lot of Telltale talk, I know, but good to send them off with a good conversation.
The last time, we promise.
Probably, unfortunately.
Probably.
Remember, you can tweet questions at IrrationalPod. Use the hashtag IPQ. We will answer them on the show. Or you can leave us a voicemail like Jake did. Phone number is 404-590-1337. Standard long distance fees do apply. Or you can leave us an email. Mailsack@irrationalpassions.com is the email address. We would appreciate any and all forms of communique. If other couple quick housekeeping bits, you can follow the sites and the show on Twitter at IrrationalPod. George Cruz runs the Twitter account, does a great job. Tons of cool stuff up on there. You can also follow us on Instagram at Irrational Passions, where George also does a great deal of work. Some other stuff, rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and Spotify. I still don't know if Spotify has a rating tool. I don't use Spotify. But if they do, give us 5 stars or something. Check out other shows of Game Input and Get Acquainted and Video Game Book Club and Podcast Ultimates. Recorded Podcast Ultimate episode 3 this week and last episode of the Batman Video Game Book Club. So those should be out soon. And for everything else, Irrational Passions, including a bunch of cool written stuff and video reviews, video review of Spider-Man coming soon. IrrationalPassions.com. That's the place to be.
The raid.
The raid. Oh, yes. Good. Thank you for reminding me. Tomorrow, I think around 2 p.m. Eastern time, I will be grouping up with a ragtag group of video game peoples, and we are going to be attempting the Destiny 2 Forsaken The Last Wish raid.
Your first raid without Tony?
It is my first raid without Tony. Holy shit, that's weird.
Damn, dude.
I just got
the betrayal.
I just got so sad. Yeah, your betrayal of me, you fuck.
Nah, your betrayal of me. You didn't wait like the additional 4 days for me to be raid ready.
No. You're not even gonna buy Forsaken.
You don't know that.
I don't, but I really hope you do, because I want to play it with you.
I mean, there's no point now. You're already raiding.
Yeah, well, you could have been there, man. With me. With me.
This cool. I'll be at work probably watching.
Cool. We're gonna try and go in blind and look up help as we go along, as I try to do with all the raids. Except for King's Fall. Tony fucking lifted me up and carried me through King's Fall.
That shit was fun.
That was so fun. We'll be streaming it on twitch.tv/irrationalpassions. It will be archived on YouTube. We will probably not beat it tomorrow. I'm going in with that as the expectation, so that hopefully we do beat it. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Look for the archive if you miss it. Most people probably will not hear this until after, but I'm excited.
Well, are we going to... This is a quick question. Are we going to keep the extra life tradition and, like, get a raid for... That'd be
We
like Tony's
might.
first experience.
We
I
might.
don't know. I'm just saying.
There's a lot of ideas.
He'll have to go back
There's
to
a
fucking
lot.
PS4, but like I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ideas for Extra Life written down in a Google
What?
Doc.
When is Extra Life?
November
What happened
10th. If you want to take the day off work. It's a Saturday.
Well, the weekend.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna take the 10th off.
Just take the one day off work. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Roll up
Like,
into work on
Sorry,
Sunday.
Extra Life ends at 8 a.m. Be like, all right, guys, see, go to work in an hour.
Going to work. But yeah, we will see. I'll put it on the docket. That could be really fun. If that could be like Tony's first Last Wish run.
Also, side note, like I get like no information about that anymore. So if you don't mind, every once in a while, just keep me updated.
Same.
Cool. I thank you for telling me. I will. There is a plan in Google Doc. I'll get you guys in on it, so that way you can at least see where we're at.
Okay.
A lot of stuff developing this week, but I'll send a blast to you guys, maybe tonight. Of the goings ons. But now we're at the end of the show. It's time for bets. Gotta make him wait for it. This week's bet, written by the man himself, Brian Option Jackson. Life is Strange 2, Episode 1, releases on September 27th. How many gigabytes will download size be? I assume we're talking about it on PS4.
It should be the same everywhere, right?
Not necessarily. Different compression for like Xbox One X or et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, well, PS4 then, I guess.
That's probably the place where you and I are going to play it, so we'll be able to confirm.
Which game?
Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. So episodic game, obviously relatively small. I think like the first episode of Life is Strange 1 Season 1 was like 2.7 gigabytes or something like that. Not super big, just for point of reference. Hit me with those bets in the chat. And when you're ready, you can just throw them up. Throw your guns up. Cool. I said 4.6.
Wow.
Oh, shit. I didn't even see that. Tony said 4.7. I fucking prices rated you so hard. Gigabytes, to be clear. Nobshin said 8 gigabytes. Scott said 5 gigabytes. That's a good spread. I like that. I like
It's really
that.
not.
No, it's good. That's funny. I believe so. To catch you up, Nobshin. 2
I
weeks.
mean,
Go.
to clarify, they're not bad bets, but I mean, like, it's not a good.
It's
spread.
not a wide spread. I think it's a quality spread. To catch you up, Nobshin, last week, or technically 2 weeks ago, the boys, the Ligma boys, as they shall now be known,
Ligma boys.
the Ligma boys, decided to double down on NATO. Last week, I did not touch base with NATO.
He was literally in this chat like, in the morning.
Last week.
Oh, last week. I'm sorry.
Not this week.
Okay.
This week I did. Last week I didn't.
Yes,
So-
I heard that show. Sorry.
By default. Okay, I just want to be sure. By default, they got the 5 points because I fucked up, which is fine. So the current standings are 42-40. Still got that 2-point lead, but boy, did they close the gap.
See, but we won the bet this week while doubling down on NATO, so now we're 3 points ahead.
Well, let's find out. Last week's bet, Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle on Open Critic. What's the average score going to be? I was betting alone, and the boys, the Ligma boys, decided to double down on NATO. I bet 70, and NATO told me 79. So let's see. I don't even know.
And
if
that
you-
was for which? That was for which game?
the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle. God damn it! So the Open Critic average is 77.
Oh baby.
Man, they just had our back.
That's fucking 3 double downs that y'all got. It's like fucking KFC up in this bitch.
Dude, that's six. That's 6 chicken breasts.
That's 6 whole chicken breasts.
Which just pulled us ahead.
So now Team Nanashi falling behind at 42 points. 42 earned points.
No. You don't get to pull that shit. We earned our points too. With a system you invented.
That was a really good. I appreciate the double down on NATO. I think like now that you guys have pulled ahead, you can no longer double down on NATO, but
Until we're behind again.
until you're behind again. But it made things interesting. And Team Ligma, unless you guys want to update, it's been a couple of months. I feel
It has.
maybe
but
think about it for
most
next
of-
week.
Most listen. I don't want to be Team Bongo Cat, okay?
No, we are now
Bongo
Team
Cat?
Bongo Cat.
Okay, Bongo Cat is so good. It's a good meme though. The meme squad has updated to Team Bongo Cat. Taking the lead with 45 points. 3-point lead. So things have gotten interesting. I believe that we'll probably do like a Game Awards betting thing, kind of like we did for E3. That could be fun. Won't commit to it. We'll have to think about it, but things have gotten interesting now. This totally nothing matters betting has gotten interesting. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you NATO for supporting us in our shenanigans. Thank you to everyone who tuned in live on youtube.com/irrationalpassions. Remember, we're live every Saturday night now. Just to reiterate, we've moved to Saturdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can tune in, get a little bit of bonus content. We talked about, during the first break, we talked about Nobishin's thoughts on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies and The Amazing Spider-Man. Before that, I talked about a book recommendation that Tony made for me. That's been super fun. Tony talked about some anime, and Scott talked about The Dragon Prince, which is cool. So you should probably check that out as well, Nobishin.
Yeah, everybody should sign up.
I listen
for
to
Audible. Get that book. Listen to it.
The Stormlight Archives is the book for point of reference. But yeah, that's all the bonus content. Again, kind of off topic, not about video game stuff. It's fun. You can only watch that on the video versions of the show, so go check that out on YouTube. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. Shout out to Danny Wiesner. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Nobishin, for joining me, as always. I love you guys. Big hugs all the way around. We are 5 weeks away from episode 400. I think that's going to be like right the week before Extra Life, or 2 weeks before, which is funny. And we have nothing planned currently, so don't anticipate anything yet. That's all I got. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, hey, you're forgetting the upcoming first episode of The Loof is Loose.
We're not committing to the Loof is Loof.
No. We've already committed to it last week.
No,
Maybe not the title, but
Maybe not
the
the title.
concept of the show.
The concept of the show, if Tony, Justin, and I start watching One Piece soon, please kill me. Set me free, but it might happen. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your game, stay rational. We will talk to you all next week.
I'm going to have to fucking wait.
Did you hear my terrible titles last week, Nobishin?
I don't think I made it that far.
All right, cool. Thank you for being
All right.
honest. I appreciate it. Titles.
Title. You got Mega Man Legends 2 Were Bust, Stranger Things Siri, Tooting the Flash Horn, I'm Alex O'Neill and I'm so fucking interesting, The Raid Betrayal, and The Loof is Loose.
Oh, these are all good. You really do put me to shame every time I have to fill in. I believe last episode we decided that we would go untitled.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
First time
I-
ever.
First time ever. Where I have to edit it in like a blank sound, like no sound for the title. I mean, I'm biased, but I think it's really, the Alex O'Neill title is really funny. But I also like the Loof is Loose. What do you like, Nobishin?
I like Raid Betrayal.
I bet you would.
I kind of like that one too.
Tony?
I like the loof is loose because it makes it real.
We are at an impasse, fellas. Should we ask the chat?
Sure.
Chat, what do you want? The loof is loose or the raid betrayal? I'll put up a poll. I can't do that on YouTube. This is a good show, guys. I know it's weird to say that while we're still recording, but I had a lot of fun. How you feeling, Option?
I'm good.
Okay. Just want to check in. I know you overworked a lot. Oh, Silver PR is in the chat. All of a sudden he says, "Got late. Have a happy Saturday." Like a big sweetheart he is.
Let Silver PR pick the title.
Raid betrayal.
He said raid betrayal.
Sounds good.
What, Gus? You damn cat. Should I say, here's an idea for the intro bit. What if I say the episode number and Tony cuts me off and yells the raid betrayal?
Maybe just should yell this betrayal. Betrayal!
Betrayal! Traitor! Is that good? Do you want to do that, Tony?
I mean, sure.
Okay. You're listening to Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 395. Nailed it.
Betrayed me.
I'll make that work in editing. That's it. You can stop recording now. Ba-doop. Thanks everybody for watching. We love all of you very much, and we hope you have a good night. And butts.